quiet.
Okay. I'd like to call the council meeting of Wednesday, May 1st to order at 9:01 a.m. I will ask Tracy to do roll call
Mayor LaValle,
here.
Councilor Collins,
Here, sorry.
Councilor Lawrence,
Here.
Councilor Kriak,
Here.
Councilor Pija,
Here.
Councilor Rodnick,
Here.
Councilor Sida.
Here. I'll now do the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaskani people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land, along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions, with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. She miigwech all my relations. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda this morning? Okay. Seeing none, I will just add for those that are online that the budget deliberations will be taking place under the staff report of our Deputy Treasurer, Jennifer Barriger, and it is also under our bylaws, which is item 17 of our council agenda. With that, I will ask for a mover and a seconder for the adoption of our agenda.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Kuyak,
I'll second it.
second by Councillor Florent.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular council meeting of May 1st, 2024.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, Councillor Collins. Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Is there any members of council that would like to do a disclosure of pecuniary interest or a general nature thereof? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on right to our presentations. Thank you, Forbes, for coming back, leading us to maybe through our final draft of our official plan. Appreciate all the work and amendments, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. It is always a pleasure to be with you. The document that is before you today is, there's actually two documents. One is the red line revision, and that's been updated to reflect all the direction that council gave us following the public meeting. The changes we spoke of, and then follow-up conversations with staff. We then have prepared what I call the technical bylaw official plan amendment, which is the delete and the replace, and it's a very technical document. It's a tad on the long-winded side, but it's what's required to be submitted to the province for approval. They will not approve the red line official plan, which is sort of the guide, and it shows to everybody what's changed and how it's changed. But the technical document, the official plan amendment number 2, is what would be theoretically adopted by council. And it's intended to reflect the red line document verbatim. The changes that were reflected in this document, as I indicated, were the results of the direction from council on the public meeting comments we received, the government agency comments we received, and I think have captured all the intent and the desires of council the way they were recorded. Following the adoption of this document, there is a requirement that the municipality provide a notice of adoption and identify who the approval authority is for the amendment. In this case, it's Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing out of Sudbury. There is no appeal of your adoption. When it goes to the ministry for approval, my understanding is that there's no longer an appeal option for ministers' decisions as well. We are hopeful that if the minister wishes additional changes to this document, that we'll have an open dialogue with their staff on that. As council is aware, the communication and flow of information back and forth has been challenging, but we can be hopeful that we will have dialogue if there's going to be any final changes. That being said, the minister's decision is final, and we can only proceed with the best recommended policy options for you at this time. It will be a challenge from here on in, but we will continue to make every effort to engage the approval authority on a positive, constructive basis. Are there any questions of the content or the process?
I was just asked yesterday by a business owner about the riparian zone,
Yes.
page 574, why that was taken out. Right at the bottom. The maintenance of shoreline vegetation.
What section is that? of the document?
5.3.115.
Five point three.
Yeah, I just searched riparian at the top and it came up.
Okay. Okay.
It's under section 5.3. Maintenance of shoreline vegetation benefits of pleasant reading.
Mhm.
5.3.1. So we deleted the waterfront area and we put in a new waterfront area standard policies. We are focusing on the 30-meter setback. And it would appear that we have deleted the reference to the riparian zone.
It is captured under 30 meters.
It is captured under 30 meters. It is part of the 30 meters. Typically, the riparian zone's the first 15 meters. That's kept as a vegetative buffer. We've talked about vegetative buffers in the policy statement. I'm not sure that it's a significant change. It's a technical phrase.
Okay.
And the other thing is it's not referenced in the waterfront manuals produced by the province. They simply talk about the first 15 meters being vegetative buffers. And they don't use the phrase riparian zone. I can do some more work on that and get a more accurate answer for you,
Okay,
if you like.
sure.
Any other members of council with questions, comments, concerns?
Couple.
Council Kuyak?
I had to look up, what the PPS was and MVS, because those were not foreign per se, but there was no, mention in the document what those were. And, so not that that's not doable, but I'm just wondering if we're referencing official plan as OP, then all the other acronyms maybe should be spelled out somewhere.
I agree.
And, there was, one, underneath introduction and background. It goes into where it says there was no official plan in place, prior to the past one. This is although South Algonquin was created in 1998 through the amalgamation, it has not had an official plan in place. Well, it has. This is a review, right? So that
Yes,
statement isn't correct.
that statement was the original historic
Right.
statement. It's not new wording, and I can update that.
Okay,
And that was section one.
one, under background, introduction and background.
I can certainly change that for the current context.
Because I know a lot of that first few pages of the original had a lot that had been removed. And then we've already talked, but maybe I'll just, let everyone know, section 1.12, makes reference to South Algonquin's economy is largely primary resource based, with the logging industry providing both directly and indirectly approximately 49%. Just was wondering if that was still true, because that was also done at the first,
Yeah,
and where that figure came from.
okay, and I have to correct what I told you earlier.
Okay,
The current census, the 2021 census that I said that came from, that's not correct.
okay,
I apologize. The current census has, an employment base of 455 people that are, in that employed category. And of that, 25 are employed in the forestry. There's another 160 that are employed in the trades. Combined, they represent 40%. I would suggest, that we delete that sentence that makes reference to the resource base. I think we've already captured the importance of the resource-based economy elsewhere in the plan. That is a text from the original.
right.
I thought we had updated it. We had not. We updated population and not employment. And I would recommend that we just delete that sentence, if that's acceptable.
I agree with deleting it because it's a bit of misinformation, because it doesn't differentiate between full-time jobs and part-time jobs, and it doesn't make any reference to the amount of employees that don't live in the township of South Algonquin.
Agreed. I think sometimes when you put these, numbers in official documents like this, and they're not referenced as to where they come from, it becomes a challenge down the road to see whether things have changed or if it's getting better or getting worse.
Right.
And I typically don't like using those I do reference population because that's updated every 5 years through Stats Canada in a census, and that's the general sort of rule of thumb. I think, in this case, I would have no problem
Okay.
suggesting that that sentence be removed in its entirety.
Would be great, thank you.
Anything else, Councillor Quinn?
Yeah, I have a couple, as I
Okay.
always, everybody's smiling at me. The second paragraph in there is due to the township's location on the eastern edge of Algonquin Park, along with its own abundance of natural and recreational amenities, tourism has come to play an important role. And then it says, however, there is a widespread belief that has great potential. I would like to see that last sentence just removed.
That from the however on,
Only because it's always been part of South Algonquin tourism. And there is a much greater potential for it to expand than the logging, but, I think that just is sort of a negative.
what paragraph is that?
It was in the same section. 1.1.2. And thank you for changing the population senior to 65. I am still under it. Sorry, Joe. I haven't.
Yeah, that's, in your agenda package. If you're online, that's page, 532.
And then I did have one more, and I think it was more just that I needed some clarification more than anything. Underneath section 2.5, land use compatibility. It was deleted in its entirety and replaced with the following, so 5.1, or sorry, 2.5.1. It is the intent of this plan to ensure that situations of land use incompatibility are not created by future development approvals. And I think in my head, I just needed an example of that, just to.
Okay. Sure. So, so 5.2 or
2.5.
2.5. So we've deleted some components and we've added some components that put it into some detail. Specifically, what clause is it that
Well, it was the first, it was 2.5.1. It is the intent of this plan to ensure that situations of land use incompatibility are not created by future development approvals.
so typically what happens when you have a zoning bylaw is new commercial and new industrial uses go through a zoning amendment. There's not many situations except for municipal business parks where you've pre-zoned lands for commercial industrial development. So a lot of the times you're reacting to proposals from the private sector to establish a new commercial industrial. When you do that, one of the primary functions that staff and council need to ensure is that you're not creating a land use conflict between the proposed new commercial industrial use and established, in this case, rural
Okay.
uses. So if, an example would be, somebody that comes along and wants to put in, a new logging operation. And you would look to see, you know, is it close to a lake? Is it close to tourist commercial, or tourist residential, severed lots that are in the area? And will they be impacted by it? We use the term adverse effect, and that's a legal term that's established through the Ministry of the Environment. It deals with noise, odor, vibration, are the main ones. So it would be through the action of a zoning amendment, looking at a new land use that you wouldn't create a land use conflict.
Okay,
Right? Is that,
yeah, I think that is probably where my head was going, I just,
Anything else, Councillor Kuya?
yes.
Okay,
The underneath, 15.1 non-conforming uses, all of that was new. And I didn't see it anywhere, so obviously something that I missed. Somewhere, 215.
yep,
2.
yes, so one of the things that's been in the draft of the document was clarifying the redevelopment of waterfront properties, which is an area that's been subjected to a couple of OMB hearings in the province over the last 5 to 10 years. And the action that's come out of that is that official plans need to provide more direction on how to redevelop existing waterfront properties. So knocking down grandpa's 20 by 30 cottage on piers and putting up a modern, house with well and septic system. And it talks about the how-to
Okay.
and the things that are being proposed. This has been part of the document that we've gone to public meetings on,
Mhm.
right? It was part of the original draft. And it's simply providing direction on how to look at this and negotiate the best deal. We have to think that waterfront development has caused problems, particularly on lake trout lakes, with reduced oxygen levels. In some areas to the south, it's causing algae blooms, and it's getting as bad as blue-green algae, which is toxic, which is coming essentially down to septic systems. When you have new development and you put a new septic system on the property and it's 30 meters back from the water, that's fantastic. That's the best thing that can happen, is a new septic system 30 meters back. But there's other things as well that you can do to stop the degradation of the water, and in some cases actually improve it. And so that's what this policy is talking about, is essentially negotiating points.
Yeah, because if you look at what was existing and what there is now, it's well expanded, so.
It is, and that's directly as a result of OLT decision in South Frontenac and in Rideau Lakes. And then those were both on the back of an OMB decision on the Tim Hortons in Ottawa, to be honest. Yeah, there is a strange connection, and it deals with legal non-conforming rights. If you have a cottage and it's within the 30-meter setback, you have a legal right to have that cottage in that 30-meter setback in perpetuity. It gets old, it needs to be replaced. You can build the exact same thing in that location, no questions asked, no planning approvals required. What typically happens, however, is when they replace grandpa's cottage, they expand it, right? And so the idea is not to have the expansion getting closer to the water. It can go out the side, primarily it puts it out the back. When you go from grandpa's cottage with the outhouse to the new house with the septic system, the big thing is making sure the septic system meets that 30-meter setback. And that's what this is talking about, right? And it's following a theme where municipalities need to put in place clear authority and clear direction on how you redevelop waterfront properties. And that was the lessons learned out of those waterfront decisions in those other municipalities.
Thank you. Anything else, Councillor Kuya?
I think not.
Okay,
I,
thank,
the only thing I would make a general comment on it is I thank you for all your hard work and listening and explaining. Will the document be gone through again and looking for spelling and grammar and that type before it gets sent off to the ministry?
We can certainly do that.
Okay.
It's been vetted 3 times now. And one of the things, I will say to you, is that when you do a major piece of work like this, and this is quite significant update. As a planner, I aspire to getting it 90% right.
Right.
And that, it's quite common through the year or 14, 16 months following this type of update that you start finding those 10%. And I quite often recommend to council that you should anticipate that there would be a housekeeping amendment after 12 months of all the things that we've picked up, whether it's been a mapping error or an oversight or a run-on sentence that was meant to be 2 sentences or whatever it may be, that you should anticipate that. And I would recommend that that be sort of your standard procedure, whether it's an official plan update like this or a zoning update, that the more you use the document, the more you're gonna find the little warts on it. And if you're not finding errors, it means it's not being used,
Right.
in my opinion. Though I did it, I had a colleague review it, we've had our proofreader in our firm review it, Tracy's reviewed it, Brian's reviewed it, we've all come up with things. If you see things that are typographical or spelling or things of that nature, I think it's certainly helpful if you tell us.
Sure.
And quite often when there's an adoption of a document like this, it's subject to editorial proofing and changes that may happen through the balance of the process. So
We can expect formatting too, when we do those
Yeah.
track changes, that formatting is gonna.
Because it is a living entity, right?
yeah, it's very challenging to do red line documents and keep the numbering in place and moving sections around and deleting sections. Word does not like that.
No, no.
And a lot of these number changes are very forced into the system. When it gets approved, Tracy and I will work and get a clean document with, today's or whatever date you adopted on it. And if there's any numbering changes, we'll fix them. I think that if you look at the actual amendment, there's a clause in there that says, all these changes and whatever sequential renumbering needs to happen. Right? So we sort of have a catch-all with that.
Sure.
So is that what you refer to as housekeeping?
I think we would do that within this amendment, but I think the housekeeping would be more, mapping errors. I had one recently, we had a sentence that stopped halfway through, right? And it was like, what the heck happened here?
Right, something.
But it got through the screening and the approval process, so it's like, okay, well, we can't have a thought that's sort of just half done, right? We gotta finish this off, and so it's things like that that would be the housekeeping, right? Oversights. The renumbering, we can capture in the amendment and have a trigger that gives staff the authority to make those things happen, right? Another one that's quite common is where you'll have a policy that makes a reference to another section in the plan.
Isn't there?
But it's the wrong section or it's been changed. That's quite common.
Any other council members have any questions or comments? Councilor Collins, you're okay?
Absolutely, yeah, I've read through, I've ploughed my way through it, and no, I'm fine with everything. A couple of bits that Joan brought up, I thought were very noteworthy, but yeah, I'm okay with the rest of it.
Thank you. Just a question. I know I've asked this before, but I don't remember. When this goes to the minister, what kind of timeline are we looking here? Is it before the end of any term, council term, or before the election? Before the election of the provincial government, or do we know? I'm not being facetious, I just
No,
know that these
and-
things
and-
take a while.
Mayor, I take it as a serious question, and it is one that Brian and Tracy and I have spoken of.
Mhm.
Under normal circumstances, I would expect a decision within 160 days type of thing, you know, in a 4-month type of range. We do have a unique situation right now where the province has just reposted an update to the provincial policy statement. And I've seen in the past that where we're in a situation where the province is thinking about updating the PPS, that they put all new approvals on hold until that's done, and then make sure that when they adopt or approve it, that it's reflective of the new PPS. I don't think that would be a tremendous number of changes to your document as a result of the new PPS as I've read it to date. There could be a few minor tweaks, but that may cause a delay, that they would be reluctant to make that change. Now, one of the biggest components of the new provincial policy statement is that it's combining the GTA growth plan with the provincial policy statement, which has no bearing on you whatsoever. There are a couple of minor little things that may have an impact. Provinces moving from 120 meter setbacks from wetlands to 30 meters. There are some minor changes related to expansion of settlement areas that may need to be tweaked, but for the most part, I don't think there would be too much. But that could cause some paralysis at the approval authority to move forward with this in a normal sort of 4-month review and change and out the door.
Okay.
But I would hope, Mayor, and we will push for an approval by the end of 2024.
Okay, that's good.
That would be, I think, a very realistic expectation at this point in time, that if it takes 3 or 4 months to get a new PPS, then that gives us another sort of 5 months for this to be considered.
Good. It's good information to kind of know we have some kind of a benchmark, right? For the thinking. Yeah, I appreciate.
I think if I could qualify that by saying that's aspirational.
Will be aspirational then. So let me thank you very, very much for all the work you do. The drive up this morning, I'm sure it's a long one, but it'll be brighter going back.
I do get, a tremendous amount of pleasure out of working with you. You've been very, responsive and engaging. And I love the questions you throw at me and challenging, you know, what I'm putting in front of me or you. That tells me you're serious about your role. And, that's all I can ever ask for. And it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tracy
Thank
Tan,
you.
and Brian also for all the work that you've done on this, I know.
Yeah.
And members of council, thank you for your input and support on this, and please have a safe drive back. Did you have anything you,
Yeah, just one thing, that if you do adopt today,
it's a
that
member,
it would
it's a
be
bylaw.
subject to what I've identified as 4 changes.
Okay.
One, there would be a definition of the PPS,
Okay,
that we would update the statement about there being no previous official plan. We would delete the sentence related to the forestry industry. And we would delete the sentence about the tourism industry having potential to expand. And I've captured those, and if council's comfortable with that, then we could have your adoption subject to
Based
those
on-
modifications.
you know, it's part of our bylaws, that we'll be adopting,
Yes.
um,
Because I had
today.
no idea
Okay.
it was medical things.
We'll have it.
I know, it was like, no, not medical.
If I can come in 2 forms, Brian had something that he wanted to add in the housing part,
Yes,
to include the indigenous groups.
Yeah, there's only one minor friendly amendment that I thought that we might want to give consideration to in there. When we talk about partners in housing, we talk about the province, we talk about the federal government, we talk about private industry as well. The one thing we forget, and I think it comes to my mind regularly because I sit at the table, is it doesn't acknowledge the Algonquins of Ontario, who in fact are right holders, similar to the province and the federal government. So I just thought that maybe it might be appropriate just to add that in there to that section on housing, because it has been overlooked.
my personal opinion on that is that's a very respectful suggestion, and it's an oversight on my behalf when I wrote the policy.
yeah. So the bylaw is, that we'll be looking at adopting today under the bylaws is number 789.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm sure Tracy or Brian will let you know.
Yes, yes.
If it doesn't get passed, I guess you'll be back.
And, you know, it's getting close to opening of fishing season,
It's
so
open.
getting back here, it wouldn't be the worst thing that happened there. I would, yes. Anyway,
Thank you very, very much. Safe drive.
Thank you.
NDS,
Minimum distance,
what? What is it?
minimum distance separation.
No, because it was like, well, I know what NDS was in the medical end of things. It was like, this is just not. This is.
Doesn't make sense, yes.
Our next item on the agenda, thank you again, is the adoption of our minutes of the council meeting of April 3rd, 2024. I'll look for a mover and seconder. Moved by Council Rodnick, second by Council Sidop. Thanks again.
Sorry, the council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 3rd, 2024 as circulated.
Been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next item is the adoption of the minutes of the Human Resources Administration and Public Relations Committee meeting of April 17th, 2024. Looking for a mover and a seconder.
I'll move that.
Councillor Collins.
I'll
moved,
second it.
Second by Councillor Florent.
I'm gonna close those lines again.
Okay,
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Human Resources Administration and Public Relations Committee meeting of April 17th, 2024 as circulated.
it's been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I see none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. And next item is, committee meetings? Committees.
Last.
Okay, do we have Charlene on the line?
We do.
Good morning, Charlene.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here.
Good. Just give us a sec, we'll close, having wind blinds closed here.
I'm just making it worse.
Uh-oh.
See how many councils it takes to close the blind.
Probably all of us.
I would suggest you buy some new blinds.
What budget line?
Hanging Canadian flags and everything.
We should have those, things that we don't, like a black. That would be good. These are, right? One of the north one was
I tried that last meeting.
Yeah.
It didn't work very well.
All right.
Yeah, made it worse. That one's,
maybe you could switch seats with someone?
I might have.
Yeah. I can change with Joe's fault.
Well, I got that one done. It was the worst one. So.
Okay, you wanna try it then? Okay, go ahead, Charlene, thank you.
Yes, my next page there with my report. Thank you. We've formed a governance committee, so we're getting things in order. And some of it wasn't too bad, but we're relearning a lot of things as well. And some interesting, I've been working close with the Ministry of Culture as well, just to make sure that they have proper paperwork on file. So there'll be some more coming forward with that. When the library was first started, it was back in 78. So there's a lot of missing files. Let me see. Does anyone have any questions about anything I have on here?
Any questions for Charlene?
Charlene, I just want to say, seeing that governance and what it entails is great. Is that something changed for the libraries across the board, or is it something that we just had missing?
When I was referencing, we have library bylaws and there's also township bylaws for the library. When we were referencing to do amendments, we realized we didn't have copies of the appropriate bylaws that established us. And there's bylaws missing from when the libraries were amalgamated, when the townships amalgamated. So we are just finding what the ministry has on file, and we'll just have to, at one point, I'll be asking council to make a new bylaw just to update it, so we have it appropriately set up, but I'm working on that with our ministry contact.
It's more just housekeeping then?
It is housekeeping and making sure that, our policy manual is up to date and in line with the Ontario Public Library guidelines. And also the governance committee, we are going to be working on an official MOU with the township.
Right.
We've been operating under this for a long time, but we don't have anything in official paperwork. So it's just having everything done officially and then making sure we have appropriate legacy documents so that when our next library board starts in another 2 years, if there's new members, everyone will be up to speed. Everything is correct with proper documentation.
It's great.
A big make work project.
Yeah, that,
It is, but once it's done for now.
that's right. And just it'll be like an annual review or something needed and it's done.
Absolutely, because there really isn't a lot of legislation changes, like they don't happen very frequently with the
Right.
Libraries Act, but yeah, just making sure we are in oh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Compliance with the legislation.
Great. Great, thank you.
You're
Any
welcome.
other questions for Shirley? Seeing none, well, thanks a lot for a great report, Charlene. Keep up the good work. And governance is always not easy work, so all the best. I know it'll work out well for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephen,
Morning, everybody.
morning, how are you?
Stevie?
So I put together a report. Is there any questions to start off with, or
Any questions on the road report?
if not, I can give you guys a quick overview of the report, some
Okay.
of the main topics there.
Thank you.
So for the grading, just give an update on the grading operations. So all of Sabina is done now, all of Whitney is done. The grader will be going down to Madawaska tomorrow. By the end of the week, we'll have Macaulay Lake, Duns, and Popensky Road done. And then I'll be going to Avon Lake next week. It'll start off on the North Road down there still. And then we'll be down there for next week, getting all that graded up. Once it's done at Avon, it'll start back up at Mackenzie and we'll make a second pass. The tender for the calcium placement, it was due yesterday. So we gotta follow up on seeing what come in for quotations for that. And I imagine a lot of municipalities are already booking that early this year with the early spring. So as soon as we get the tender reviewed and the quotes, we'll get that booked in. I think we'd be in good shape for early June for calcium if we can get it scheduled in.
I have a question on that, Steve. Last year, we calciumed the ATV trail through Madawaska. Are we gonna do that again this year?
That was one thing. So we got an email from the snowmobile club about that. So I guess it's up to you guys. Last year, what we did was when we get the tender back for the calcium supplier, we pay so much per liter for the calcium. So last year I just sort of tracked the liters we used when we did it and we invoiced the snowmobile club for it. If you guys are fine with us doing that again this year, I can set that up for it.
I have to say that it was a huge difference in the dust problem last year. There was virtually no problem at all. Where in the past, it's been absolutely terrible.
So if you guys are fine with that, there's always, I can arrange that as long as you guys give me the okay to proceed with it.
I'm certainly in favor of it.
Is that something that was gonna be sort of ongoing with the,
It's something-
snowmobile club, that they would cover the cost?
Yeah, so instead of them getting a calcium supplier in, when we're doing our township roads, they asked if we wouldn't mind just doing the section through Madawaska. So a lot of dust comes
Yeah.
up and then all the houses and that. Last year, everybody sort of agreed that we could go ahead and do that, and I just invoiced them for what we used. And if you guys are fine with that, we can do the same this year.
And it just happened to be, the timing was just right last year with the complaints and the calcium should be in there at the same time, so. Yeah, it's better to be proactive than reactive.
So if you guys are fine with it, I can respond, because they already asked the question if we could go ahead and do
Oh,
it this
okay.
year.
That was what I was sort of asking was,
Yeah,
are they okay with us going ahead?
Yeah, which is good, they're paying for it, so.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, so I'll book that in with them and we'll get that done this year. In terms of the sweeping, all the east end is done. We started in Whitney here on Monday. All the north end of 60 is swept. We got Sunset done yesterday. We're doing Paradise this morning and starting in town. So by tomorrow around noon, we should be done all the sweeping in the township. We just have a couple of the bridges to do, the one at Mackenzie Lake, Major Lake, we gotta finish that off. So by the end of the week, all the sweeping will be done. That's the update on that. In terms of half loads, I pulled the half loads off as of today on May 1st. So we posted a notification on Facebook as well as the website.
So that's the major operations going on at the moment. For the landfills, we had 2 pickups, arranged in April, was a scrap steel and a tire pickup. So both of them are sort of dealt with. I also put out for quotations for the annual shredding. So I did get one back from our usual subcontractor for that. That was National Grinding. One thing I had them do differently this year is usually they have always shredded the brush in the past. And to me, it makes sense to just burn the brush yourselves with their own guys. And there's a pretty substantial savings if we burn the brush yourselves. So it's over $5,000 if we do that. So I think that's a no-brainer to go ahead and do that ourselves. So I also reached out to another subcontractor in Elmira, Ontario. They're called Sittler Grinding. So we always only get the one quote, so I'm just waiting to meet up with them. And they're gonna take a look at the 2 landfills, and that'll give us a secondary subcontractor to look at for pricing. So I'm trying to get that ironed out here by the middle of May, and once I get the lowest quote, I'll get it booked in and get the shredding started in June.
So all the years previous to you getting a second quote, we just went ahead and phoned the same grinding company and they just came and did it.
No, originally we got quotes.
You got quotes for it? Okay.
They're one of the only contractors around that does it. Sittler, I ended up getting their contact information from Garrys Bay Township, but there's not many people that do that line of work. So I did get them, and I'm gonna line them up, and they said they'd come and take a look for us and at least get us a second quote.
It'd be nice to be able to compare apples.
Competitive, yeah.
Apples, right?
So that's for the landfill operations. For the winter sand, like I say, we had an easy winter. So last year we brought in 3,000 ton. This year, we're gonna bring in 2,200 ton to fill the sand dome. So there should be a substantial savings on that for this year's budget. We did receive one quote so far, and the tender closes, I think, May 9th. So once that comes in, I'll get the lowest bid lined up to get the work done right in the peak of summer when it's dry out.
So I know last year, getting back to the winter sand, we didn't go with the lowest quote. We went with it, one in the medium range, and it was the quality of the sand, I believe, right?
No, it ended up, we did go with the lowest.
We went with the lowest quote.
Yeah, and it was a better quality sand
Okay.
supplier, so.
Okay.
So I'm working on that, and by mid-May, I'll get that arranged for the summertime. For capital works projects, I met with the consultants that did the preliminary design drawings for Hay Creek earlier this month. So I did get them to revise. I asked them to raise the grade between 2nd and 3rd Avenue in the hole where the water sort of sits down in there. So they did do a full as-built previously. So they're going to do a grade raise along that section. I also asked them to optimize the ditch design, because a lot of spots don't have ditches along Hay Creek. They're going to try to sink the culverts down so we can get some more deeper ditches on the west side of Hay Creek. So we're expecting finalized drawings with those revisions in the next day or two. Once they're finalized, we'll be able to proceed with that work this summer, getting culverts and ditching done. So that's an update on that one. Major Lake Road, that's another road we're looking at doing some resurfacing in the next season or two. We do have a meeting set up next Tuesday with Ontario Parks and AFA. See what they have available for funding, sort of chip in on that road. It's a shared road. And then the last one here is Macaulay Lake culvert. So I'm just working on quotes for the consulting piece for getting a design for the replacement of that one. So the goal is to get a design done this season and then do the replacement next season.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Just because you're having this meeting with the AFA and John Swick, there's a dangerous situation that I've become aware of. When we have our half loads on, the AFA uses an alternate exit from their yard. They come out on Highway 60 at the bottom of the hill. The entrance to that road is not level and there's no stop sign. So, because they're coming out of there with big trucks and coming up the hill, they don't stop. So we got moving trucks entering the intersection, or their intersection, and if there's vehicles coming, it scares the vehicles and they crowd over to the left, like across the lane. Sooner or later, somebody's gonna get smucked there. I seen it yesterday, but I seen the situation, so I pulled over on the ditch.
You're
Like on the
talking
shoulder.
about Highway 60?
On Highway 60.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're talking with the AFA, make them aware that's a dangerous situation, because the
Mhm.
trucks can't and won't stop at the road.
Yeah, so, yeah, I can bring it up to AFA, and then that would be something they would have to deal with dollars about, or MTO.
The entrance should be level to start with, so the trucks can come to a stop. Right now, like a car, you could come to a stop on the level portion, but a tractor trailer, like they're 53 feet long, they're not gonna stop, because they can't get going again, if they do.
Is that the one that comes right out on the hill?
Right at the very bottom of the hill.
All right.
It's very dangerous, because vehicles coming down that hill, they're always speeding.
Mhm.
They cannot stop if somebody comes across the center line. And by the trucks not stopping, they're forcing cars across the center line.
Yeah, I'll bring that up to AFA, Joe, in that meeting then.
Thanks.
The next one here was the biannual OSUM inspection. So one thing we're gonna have to do is replace a few of the 8x8 pressure treated timbers at Poverty Culvert out here. So I've just barreled it off for now, and once you're done sweeping, you'll get some ordered up for that and replace those. For sign retro reflectivity inspections, I did look into Salem Lake, that the road reconstruction was done in 2018.
I think so.
The supplier for those signs, Walsh Contracting, did the work for us. They looked back at their bill of lading, it was through Beacon Light where they got the signs in Ottawa. So I contacted them, and they're gonna replace all the road signage under warranty for us. So,
Some of them you can't even see anything on the sign now.
yeah, so our own crew will have to take the signs down.
Right.
But they're gonna supply all the material, all the new signs for us for free, and they'll come with a 7-year warranty, I believe it is. Yeah. So that was about $3,000 savings there. I added a section in for recreational updates, so annually we gotta do our playground inspections, which Adam had done in April. One thing that's always comes up in that is compacted soil, so we did rent a rototiller in April and tilled up all the surfaces to get the compaction fine. So other than that, we did drag all the baseball diamonds, cause the kids baseball is starting up here, I think it's tomorrow actually. So we did that in April. Pickleball courts, they were all repainted in April. All the parks are opened up now. The outdoor privies are open, and we got all the docks except for the Whitney Beach Inn and the second one at Avon Lake, which those ones will all be in before the long weekend in May.
Just a question on the playground here, Whitney. You removed the crazy things that have been there for years, but you've left the frame. Will that frame be coming down?
I'll have to talk to Adam to see potentially, I think it'll end up coming down because it wasn't in compliance. And I believe the reason for it not being in compliance was the openings on the play equipment. There's the option to weld in additional bars to make it compliant, or else just scrap the whole
We said
thing.
goodbye to.
Yeah,
We've held a bit of a funeral for the 3 lovely things that have come in.
so we'll end up taking the frame out then, once we get all the spring startup stuff done.
Sure, no, just didn't know whether or not that was left for. Hopefully, we haven't heard back from the grant yet, but we're hoping that we'll have some new ones coming in.
And can put it in that spot.
Yeah.
In terms of equipment maintenance, we did do, we took all the wing plows off, and the guys have got them all desalted, pressure washed and stored away for the summer months. So we did a lot of that in April. We got all the trucks degreased, desalted, and pressure washed and cleaned up. In terms of major equipment, 27, it's been working fine ever since they did the warranty work on it. And then we did have to do some work on the grader in the month of April, which is why it was out So we had to get 3 universal joints replaced, as well as, the front lift cylinder was leaking hydraulic fluid. So we had to take the cylinder off and get new seals put in it. So ever since it's been out, it's been working fine since then. That's it for equipment maintenance. And that's pretty well everything, the highlights of the report. Do you guys have any questions? In terms of safety, we did have all the works department do the traffic control in book 7 training last Friday. So all our mandatory courses are pretty well covered now. And we have a document down at the yard that we're keeping everybody's tickets in, so that we know we can keep up on everybody's tickets and that, so.
Under safety tickets.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions, Steve.
Yeah.
One is, how often do you review, staff's driving record?
So we do that annually. I know that we gotta get, there's a form that we fill out annually that we go and check that, if anybody's had any infractions. And since I've started, we've done that once a year, right, Brian, is what we do. So last season, actually at the new year, we went and had everybody fill out, there's a form that we have, a checklist that everybody will sign, and if there's been any new infractions against their driver's license, they update us on that.
Okay.
But right now, it's once a year.
The other one is with the brush in both, waste facilities. Is some of that, could you grind that on the excavator, some of it?
I think it makes sense just to
Just
burn
burn?
it, yeah. And actually, I'll talk to the fire department if they have interest in any like practices in that. Maybe they're interested in burning it, otherwise our own works department will burn it
Yeah, I know
ourselves.
these things, that's what they do, is supposed to,
We used to burn it too. I don't know how it got into practice to grind it.
but.
I have one question, Stephen.
Go
Can you
ahead,
hear
Council
me?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is there any chance that the calcium can be put onto the road going into the dump in Madawaska? It, I think, has been missed in the past, and the amount of dust that is kicked up on that part of the road is phenomenal. Just to make sure it's included in your calcium laying down, please.
yeah, we can do that. I know
Thank you.
last year I got a handle for how far our annual calcium volume goes. So I have a better handle on, because last year we ended up, what we ordered, we did have a little extra that we just double placed in a few areas. So, if we have extra this year, I'll try to get the dump road around Waska done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think we did last year.
No.
Any other questions or comments for Stephen? Oh, great report. I guess everyone's fine, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Steve.
Next one is the next one coming up is, the budget with,
It's actually Ian's, but he's.
oh, Ian, I'm sorry. Ian, is Ian online?
Ian, I'm not sure. Ian was at the hospital this morning for an appointment with the orthopedic surgeon, and he
Okay.
isn't available yet. But if anyone
Okay.
has any questions, I can jot them down, and he'll be back before the end of the council meeting for sure. And he could maybe have a slot and answer any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions for the fire department reports? I don't see any, but thanks, Counselor Collins. If we do, we can maybe when he gets back, we could, if we think of something, maybe ask him.
All right, okay. As I say, he should be home soon, but it's it's a hospital, so who knows?
So before I move into the 2024 budget and taxation bylaws, I'd like to just take a 10-minute break. It could be
I can
lengthy.
do that.
Okay, if everyone's back, we can, turn our attention over to Jennifer. Who's going to lead us through the budget and the proposed bylaw. Thank you, Jennifer. Go ahead.
So today we're coming into the hopes of passing the three bylaws that will enable us to go forth with the 2024 budget. So I talked a little bit about in the report here about the proposed budget and the changes that we've made from our last meeting on April 17th. So I detailed the commercial waste bin revenue, which we decided with Steve and Brian, it would be a phased in. May 1st to June 15th would be a notification period with no fees. The June 16th to December 31st would be a $60 bin fee to commence. And then going into 2025, we would see a $75 fee for the bin pickup. Another change from last meeting was we've added in the St. Francis Memorial Hospital Emergency Room redevelopment of $5,000, physician recruitment initiative. And I just gave a little bit of an update on where our reserve transfers stood after removing the custodian vehicle from the capital. I detail also in the report the three bylaws that are passed annually in order to proceed with the 2024 budget and also to allow for taxation to happen, the final tax bills in August. So I'll open it up for questions and discussion around the budget. So you were transferring monies from reserve to get us to zero balance. No, this would not do that. So I should have maybe elaborated a little more on when we're going in 22,600 to finance the budget. That was for the fire equipment purchases. Okay, which most were approved last year's budget, just didn't get completed. All right, so standing now that we're sitting at a zero. That's right. Yes, that's with a 5.5% tax increase. We would have a zero surplus, zero deficit. Is that also including the waste bin revenue of some sort? That's including the waste bin. And how much did you put in for that? That's roughly $37,025 is what we would require to bring a zero surplus, zero deficit budget. You said 37? Yes.
Can I
Councillor
discuss the,
Collins, go ahead.
can I discuss the elephant in the room? Obviously, I'm sure other councillors have had calls from members of the public regarding, or business members of the public regarding the cost for the commercial bin collection. I am just throwing this out there to council. If there is any way that we can introduce this a little more slowly to give them a little bit more time to assimilate what is going to happen, I think that that would be helpful for the businesses. If they've put aside money this year for their operating costs, to actually have this one put upon them as of June, I think is a little bit preemptive. And I would prefer to see that phased in a little bit more gently for them, if we can manage the figures at all. I don't know what the rest of council thinks about that. And I know that commercial waste, I don't think we're going to be collecting it for very long anyway. I think things will be changing. But I would like to see that introduced just a little bit more gently for them, if we can manage. Over to the rest of council. What do they think about that?
Okay, I've got Brian Martin wants to answer that, and then I'll go to councillor.
I'll just speak to that in general, Councillor Collins. So we do have 45,650 as a net amount that we are currently planning to transfer into the reserve this year. So anything that council chooses to do with respect to the businesses, I would recommend we absorb that in that fund and we reduce our transfer to the reserve. And the reason I say that is we've already gone through and prepared the revenue and expenditure bylaws based on council's last meeting. We've established our tax rate bylaw and our tax ratios bylaws. So all of those are ready to go. So I would suggest if there's any modification and any shortfall in revenue as a result of making changes to what was proposed previously for the businesses, that in fact, I would recommend that we just reduce the amount we transfer to reserves this year. And that way there's no net change to the budget. And we would just make some changes amongst lines within the budget.
Okay, so if I, just before I got Council Quiet and Council Florence. I just want to understand what our CO just said. So you're saying, well, let me go to Councillor Florence and then Councillor Quiet, and I'll give you what my feeling is. Councillor Florence.
I would agree with Councillor Collins to have a longer phase-in period, or not so much longer, but just a reduced amount for this first 6 months. And I would suggest having that $60 bill to a $30 bill. I see this not so much as revenue generating, but as an inducement to recycle and reduce. I don't think that we were going to collect $37,000. I would be very, very surprised. I think people very rapidly, businesses very rapidly would learn to reduce their waste and or transport some of it to the dump site on their own. Out of those discussions and letters from members of SABA, they bring up the fact of the system being unfair, or that actually I said that they were unfair as compared to other municipalities because they were getting a service for free that they would have had to pay for in other municipalities. But another point has come up, and the businesses that are in the accommodation business, I agree, are being treated unfairly because bed and breakfasts and or houses that are short-term rentals currently are paying residential tax rate, while the motels, lodges, etc., are paying commercial tax rate, which is double the amount. And I think we have to fix that. I don't think we're going to be able to fix it this year, but I think we have to work on it. And I think the easiest way is just to flat out say that bed and breakfasts or short-term rentals aren't allowed in residential areas. So we're going to, conceivably, we would be swamped by people wanting to change to commercial zoning. And they would be allowed in commercial. So that would double the income from those properties that are in short-term rentals. There's one short-term rental business in South Algonquin that I think is over $1,000 a night.
Mhm.
And they're paying residential tax rate. It's a 5-bedroom with 2 kitchen, and it's a huge, huge place. And my understanding is that it's pretty busy.
Thank you, Council. Anything else, Councillor Florence?
I think that covers it all.
Thank you. Councillor Quiet?
Well, I think everybody has received a few of the letters in regards to commercial bin pickup. I've also had a few conversations with a variety of commercial owners, and a couple things. After I left here last week when we talked, or 2 weeks ago when we talked about this, I wasn't sitting right because we combined something that was going to produce revenue to our budget. And it was like, we're passing a budget based on this that might not ever work out. And it was like, okay, well, then the 37,000 shortfall, as you said, would come out of our whatever reserves, etc., which is fine by me. I agree with that. But I don't know whether or not we've introduced this properly. There, in that it sounds wonderful, but there's a lot of things from an educational standpoint that people need to know. You know, break down your boxes, take them to the recycle. Your plastic should go to recycle. You probably wouldn't need a bin pickup if you did all of that, except once a month. So, you know, really and truly. The other interesting point that came out of all of this was that some of the commercial people don't use a commercial bin. They don't have one and they don't use it, yet they put out 6, 7 large containers at the road on their specific pickup time, and it's picked up. So why can't all of the commercial people do that? Really, you know, put out 6 bags. And there's probably large households that do the same thing, and it's all picked up, and there's no fee, there's no, you know, blink of an eye. The other thing is I was brought to my attention that, probably both mills throw things into a, recyclable bin, or not recyclable, but a bin that probably shouldn't even be in there. And again, that comes up to a point where, well, then do you accept these bins as, you know, if there is material in there that shouldn't be in there, hazardous waste, etc., should you be dumping them and bringing them to the dump? There is a lot of questions out there. And I did jot some of them down. The other one was, if you're classified as a business, shouldn't your garbage be picked up by a business or by a bin? You know, again, that might as well put 6 bags out there, and so what, you're not paying for a bin then. And the other one was, again, the recycling and the education end of things. And yeah, you know, how do we classify business? Is it their roll number and then they get charged for pickup? I don't know. Lots of concerns, and I think I think introducing this fine and maybe down the road, but I really think you need some people here to talk about this, not just us as counselors, and the education piece. I mean, I know myself, I could use more education on recycling if that's what we're trying to do. Improve our landfill site, improve our recycling. Again, going back to, you know, our strategic plan, we should be mapping all of this out and coming up with a better strategic plan than just doing something like this quite quickly. Anyways, those are my 2 cents.
Thank you, Councillor Quia. Yeah, Councillor P.
People might as well just make the rounds. Yeah, absolutely. Myself in particular, garbage is a big issue for me. It's a big issue for everybody, I believe. But this issue, I think we rushed it.
Yeah.
I think we went way too fast. There's gotta be another way to work with the businesses and what classifies as a business, because from the feedback that I've been getting is that there is not a level playing field. And that's what the issue is here. Should businesses be paying? Yeah, I think so. All businesses? Absolutely, right? I'm a business, I pay. So, but I think the way what we tried to introduce this was not right, and I think there's a lot more discussion that should be had. There's gotta be other ways around this.
With the people
There's gotta
that's
be,
involved too, right?
Absolutely, because there's a lot of stuff going on that we're not aware of as counselors, because we're not into waste management. We don't pick up the garbage on a daily basis, right? So I don't know how many times that the guys will show up at a bin and it's empty. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So to try to regulate this, I don't know, how do you do it? Do we do it as a on-call? right? So now people are gonna go, okay, I'm gonna call them because my bin's half empty. Well, no, you call when the bin is empty and you're gonna pay attention to what's in it. Because I think a lot of times there's wasted space, you're probably picking up a lot of air. So, that is my 2 cents. I think that, 5.5 with the bin collection revenue, and as other counselors were saying, I think that's kind of an inflated number, because now the people, if they're gonna be paying for their pickup, there's gonna be a lot less picking up being done. So those are my 2 cents.
Counselor Rodney?
My 2 cents is basically what these three just said.
I know.
And I've kind of come through some of the same conclusions, and sort of, everything's not on a level field in this area, like, that's what I thought, that some people could circumvent things and just throw out a bunch of garbage bags, and bigger thing is the education, and people feel like all of a sudden we just kind of hit them from behind and aren't happy about it. And, you know, Joe came up with a decent compromise too, because I think honestly, coming down the road, we're gonna end up like, there's gonna be no way to avoid charging for garbage. That's, I mean, a lot of municipalities, cities, big and small, are all running, this is one of the most major problems. And they all pay for it. I mean, Valley Manor, for example, they're paying the big bucks for garbage pickup and dumping. Like more than the $37,000.
And when you stop and think about it, you know, again, everybody was saying, well, sometimes they're picking up air,
Yeah.
right? When they go to dump something, it's not even full. So I think even if we went back and said, hey, you know, with a group, recycle, please, you know, take your recyclables to the dump, that would be great. Your bin would be less full, and, you know, maybe you can manage one or 2 days or 2 times a month to dump, and call when it's full, so that the garbage truck isn't just doing it on a regular basis.
And I actually honestly think that, the whole way that we collect garbage in this township, I think it needs to be reevaluated as part of this discussion. I really honestly do.
Counselor Sida?
I agree with all the counselors here today. And I've had my share of discussions too with business owners, and they just feel that it's unfair why they're being picked on. What else? I did see this on social media last night. I don't know how true it is, but is the province going to pass a legislation that will prevent municipalities from picking up commercial garbage? Commercial businesses will be 100% responsible for disposing their own garbage. This will be required to be implemented by 2027 in rural locations.
I can tell
Have you heard
I
anything
have
of it?
not heard anything in the wind legislatively related to, you know, prohibiting us from picking up garbage. No, by 2025, the stewards will be taking over recycling programs.
That's right.
They'll be responsible for paying for recycling programs, and they will determine the level of service provided to the municipality as it relates to recycling. So that'll be $20,000 that's currently on our tax bill that'll come off when they start that. But where somebody got this 2027 date, I wish they could reach out to me as they listen on YouTube today and send me an email with a link to the piece of legislation that specifically says that. Otherwise, please take it down off of the social media.
Okay, Counselor Ford, sorry,
Yeah, I've patiently waited my turn.
I know you have. I seen that.
Over and over, I've heard it around the table that we're penalizing commercial or businesses. We are not. We are charging per bin pickup. As far as I know, the only bins are at commercial sites. That's their choice. They own those bins. We don't own them. They chose to buy them to go that route to get rid of their garbage because it was nice and convenient. And of course, it was free. So why not? It's no longer free, and it's not free in any other township that I know of. And as far as the
educating the people. The South Algonquin Business Alliance has been in existence, what, 5, 6 years now? I think that's ample time to educate people to be more prudent with their garbage and to get into the recycling program and to reduce the volume of their garbage. I don't think starting today is gonna fix something tomorrow. Like, we've been into this. We've had bins in this township since 1998. And people still haven't learned in over 25 years. In fact, we used to have bins scattered throughout the township and we picked them up, always because of abuse, always. Because there was such a mess around them, and then there was threats of declaring them transfer sites. Over and over and over, and now we have none. They're all on private property. They're all owned by the businesses who want to go that route. If they don't want to go that route, they can take the garbage to the dump.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Floyd. Anyone else? Councillor Kuyak?
I would just like to maybe add or clarify, it's not just Saba, it's not every business belongs to Saba. It is all businesses right across the board. And I do agree that it has been convenient for them, but I believe they actually had to purchase the bin years ago. And going forward, yes, they've been very fortunate. Everybody else has been charging businesses, commercial properties right around us, and not just municipalities, but cities as well. But I think where we may have taken the wrong turn is that we just decided to do this based on what we needed for a budget to make that a lower percentage, and didn't really think about what and how that was going to impact the community, the business community, or any of us really. Because like you say, you don't have to be a business to own one of those bins. So I don't know, I go back to saying a year ago that waste management has been an issue, and what we need to do is sit down and go through the whole process, both of them, collection and disposal, right through, to see where there's loopholes, not so much loopholes, where could we do better, and what does that look like? And, you know, put our thinking tanks on and see what we can come up with versus just doing this. I agree, something has to be done, but I think the whole thing needs to be looked at.
And I'm pretty sure.
I have a question.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Councillor Collins.
This is a question for you, Jennifer, and I am just throwing this out here off the top of my head. I'll be honest, I haven't really thought this one through, but what would we have to raise the commercial tax multiplier to reach that 37,000, Jen?
Yeah, I
If we
don't have
put-
that offhand. I'd have to go into Opta to determine that.
Approximately, do you have an idea of their tax base from businesses and what we would have to raise the commercial tax rate to?
This is about a 1.5% residential tax rate increase.
Yes. No, I
So
mean
that
the
would-
multiplier to actually cover this deficit, because it's the businesses and the commercial that is causing us this deficit, so to speak. And we don't charge that. The actual commercial tax rate is very low in our township because we are single tier. And I'm just wondering if that would be an alternative. And then they get their commercial pickup free of charge because they're paying that little bit more on their commercial taxing. It was just another solution that appeared to me out of nowhere.
That would require a little bit of effort, Sandra, to set up initially. It's what they call a curbside area rate. A lot of municipalities that have curbside pickup in a village but don't have it in a rural area would assess it against the area that receives the service. So for us to go back and take a look at something like that and set it up specifically against commercial would require a bit of work, because we'd actually have to go into Opta, determine the assessment of the assessable properties for commercial and add it as a additional rate against that property class. So it would take some effort. And I'm not sure that our current software would allow us to apply it against a specific property class. Because generally we apply it against a range of roll numbers.
Okay, it was just something that I thought was an easy fix. Obviously not. Okay.
Was it Councillor, who was going to speak? Councillor Peter,
I
go ahead.
was going to speak again, and I'm sure that there's some of the commercial bins that unknowingly that some of the owners, to some of the owners is that, there's garbage coming from elsewhere going into their bin. Yeah, from adjoining municipalities who have to pay for their garbage, who have to pay for their bags. So they got excessive garbage, instead of disposing it the way they're supposed to in their own township, they're bringing it in to work and throwing it in the company's bin. And that's happening a lot.
One business in Madawaska, removed their bin for exactly that reason. A lot of the garbage was coming out of Algonquin Park.
And I'm sure that's happening in the bins here too. People just take and dump it
I
in.
think that was the one bin,
At Algonquin Bound.
yes.
Another thing we could look at too is how many times they're being picked up. Those commercial bins are being picked up 2 times during the winter or 3 times during the summer. So that's a lot of pickup. It is a lot.
I think on demand or call my,
They're not supposed to, but I think it's happening.
yeah.
Okay, so
I know,
go ahead,
sorry,
Councillor Collins.
I know
Go
for a
ahead.
fact when we owned the resort, when we first took over running the resort, Ian physically got into our dumpster bins with his rubber boots on and jumped up and down on the garbage because they were overfull and overfilling before pickup day. When we took it upon ourselves to buy blue bins and do the recycling ourselves, all of a sudden our bins were not full anymore. It makes a dramatic difference for people in these situations to do recycling. We actually, part of our students' job through the summer was actually collecting the blue bins from the cottages and around the campground and actually crushing the aluminum cans, by breaking down the cardboard boxes, etc., etc. And it made such a difference to our big commercial pickup bin that sometimes, you know, it was only a quarter full or half full. Whereas in the past, as I say, Ian had to get in and jump up and down just to close the lids. Sorry.
But not everyone's that responsible. I don't think, Councillor Collins, unfortunately. But I hear you. Thank you very, very much. Anyone else want to speak? My understanding is we are supposed to pass the budget today, in order to proceed with our taxes and our, and that. So I'm hearing 2 things, a couple of things from council members. I'm hearing, maybe we should go ahead, but not at the rate we're doing it. I'm hearing maybe we shouldn't go ahead because we need more education. I'm assuming that's what I think I'm hearing. I'm hearing, you know, some of the businesses feel that this is totally unfair. And I respect what other council members are hearing. I just want to say that maybe, and I'm just throwing this out, because it goes kind of against what Council Floyd is suggesting, I think, is that one of the ways you could do it, if you want to do all of this education, and looking around to see what's being picked up and asking the businesses to, you know, please be conscious of the amount of garbage and the amount of time that's being picked up, that we can't afford just to go around assuming every time you call. And that's what we're doing. That's pretty much what I'm hearing. So I guess one of the ways, is to reduce, the amount of money that's going into our reserves by 37,500. And end up with, no changes, and at a tax rate of 5.5%. And I don't know, that's kind of what I think will fix the budget. Am I not correct?
It fixes it right
It
now.
fixes it. It doesn't, I think, yes, we need to do some more education with people. But I also think that, and I say this with respect, I don't think that it's just Saba. I think we have to engage with more businesses on this issue. I know that we've all been polled by a member of the public or members of the public. And I appreciate that. But there's a lot of people out there that I feel we're not hearing from, and I want to hear from them. So I'm recommending that we do this, what I just suggested. I'm also recommended that this council put together a waste management subcommittee with business owners, with a couple of private citizens, and with members of this council. So those are my recommendations to council.
You're recommending that we don't charge anything at all?
That's my recommendation.
I couldn't go along with that.
Okay.
I'm perfectly willing to cut that in half and take the $19,000 shortfall out of the contribution to reserves. But there has to be an incentive for the bin owners to reduce the volume.
I'm just going by what I heard council saying, Council Floyd. I hear you.
Can I step in there?
Council Collins, yes, go ahead, please.
I totally agree with Councillor Florent. We're talking about educating the business owners. Unfortunately, without some sort of financial accelerator, if you like, I don't think that education will have any effect whatsoever. If they're still getting it for free, why should they put the effort in to remove the stuff out of the bins? I think with a little bit of a costing, with it increasing, we should see a decrease in the amount going in the bins, graphing that out in time. But I think if we don't charge at all, I don't think there'll be any change whatsoever. I think there needs to be some sort of incentive thrown in there, but I would like to see it phased in a lot more slowly than this.
Thank you, Councillor Collins. Any other members of council?
I agree with setting up the task force with staff and commercial owners and council, public council, if we felt that that was something. But again, I'm not opposed to a fee. I just would like to have that started first before a fee is imposed.
If I may, and I hear you, my understanding is we have to be able to pass our budget today. So we have to figure out a way if we're going to reduce it by 37.5 or 19, like Councilor Warren is suggesting, and then there's a charge back to the businesses. But then we have to see what that chargeback is going to be and when it's going to be implemented. So that's the difficulty I see us in at this point in time. Go ahead.
I can see that going ahead and agreeing to the budget of 5.5 and the shortfalls would be absorbed by our reserves.
Okay.
And that this be removed from the budget and start dealing with it accordingly. And I see that as your recommendation, setting up a task force. and going forward.
Okay, you want to say something, Brian?
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly that 37, just over 37,000 that we're dealing with. Whether we're taking that from the amount we're transferring into the reserve this year, or whether we're collecting it from the business, or whether I collect a third of it or a half of it is kind of mute. At the end of the day, we'll plan that 37 into the reserve. It's up to council how and when they want to manage the implementation. Certainly, if you want to do it at a rate of $30 in June or $30 in September, really won't be relevant as it relates to the total. All it'll do is minimize the amount that we're not going to put back to the reserve this year. And it's vital that we are putting monies back into the reserve. But I understand the concern with regards to fairness and the fact that some businesses may not have bins. There are some businesses probably that don't need them. The post office, well, the LCBO probably don't need a bin, and that's probably why they never got one. There may be other businesses that aren't using them that probably should have a bin.
So it was interesting because somebody noted that the pharmacy sets out their garbage and then very nicely have done up all of their boxes. The garbage truck comes, picks up the boxes, throws it in the dump truck as well as the garbage, and away it goes. So even though they're thinking that they're recycling, they are not, because it's all going in the way.
And another way to look at this, if council is considering ways to look at it, I believe our waste schedule has commercial waste picked up 1 week in it.
The schedule doesn't have anything in there pertaining to commercial pickup,
So
but it needs to.
So what we're finding, and I'm hearing from staff, and I went back to the review we had, review of efficiency review we had done by KPMG a few years ago. What I'm hearing from staff is that Tuesday, I believe, is the pickup.
Tuesday's commercial here.
Commercial, but we're getting residents that may be throwing stuff into commercial to get it picked up on Tuesday. They're then getting Thursday pickup is for the residents. Well, they're picking up the commercial again. And now on Sunday in the summertime, we're picking up commercial. So maybe there's a need to incentivize them from having people putting stuff in their bins and saying, you know what, we'll pick you up once a week in the winter, or we'll pick you up twice in the summer. But anytime, if we pick you up at any other time, we're going to bill you at a rate of X, Y, or Z, so that we can now collect some revenue and incentivize some of the businesses to start managing what waste is going in their bin, because it is against the law for us to receive waste from outside of this township, whether that's Algonquin Park or Barry's Bay or Hastings Highlands or where that comes from. It's only allowed to come from our township. I can't take it from Clancy or anywhere else without an amendment to our environmental compliance certificate. And that in and of itself is a process. So, anybody that's doing, maybe we need to look at a waste management bylaw that, if those people are caught doing that type of thing, maybe we now need to issue fines and charges to people. I don't know. This is a big topic to get into, but we've got to make a decision. The 37, whether we transfer that into reserves or whether we just keep it as part of our operating, knowing it's a tough year for everyone anyway, that's a decision of council on it, but I'm not opposed to some fee, like, as Joe suggested, even $30, would cut the fee down significantly for them. I'm not gonna let staff pick up bins. If you're getting charged from, the only way I'm picking them up is if you call me or otherwise authorize me to pick it up, because I'm not picking your bin up at a third, having you complain about paying $30 or whatever the fee is, when the bin was literally all but empty. So you're gonna be responsible as a business owner to call me. And if you don't call me in time, I'm not coming back to pick it up any other than on collection day. So I think those are ways of us helping to put the carrot ahead of the stick, but that's a conversation for elected.
Well, I also believe that, let's face it, the commercial businesses can say, well, forget the bin, I'm just gonna put my garbage out in bags and put it out there. I mean, I've seen 13 bags of garbage out at a household on a Thursday morning, and I'm sure Steve and them can attest to that. and those aren't businesses,
That's right.
you know,
Mhm.
and I think, you know, that has to be looked at too. That's really, you know, I've seen our waste management guys standing, picking up 13 bags of garbage. I mean, how much can a household have in terms of garbage? Do we think it's coming from someone else? Of course it is, right? So that's another major issue that, you know, I think a waste management committee might be able to go into. That's why I think that would go, but we're right, I mean, I'm open to what council wants to do, and those are just my suggestions. I try to move our budget along and I try to come up with a tax rate so that Jennifer and company can do what they have to do. The other thing and I said this at the last council meeting, I think that we are missing an opportunity. And I think that we have to seriously look at a tax levy or something on these Airbnbs. And I really believe that that will bring some revenue into this township. I don't know how much, you know, maybe it's only $10,000 a year. But it also says that people are saying to me, this isn't fair, that somebody's, and Council Florent alluded to it, somebody's $1,000 a night or more, and we're not getting anything from it as a business. So that's a whole other issue that I think we should look at in terms of bringing taxation into this township. And that is what other townships are doing. Anyway, those are my comments for council. I'm not sure how council wants to proceed. Do you want to proceed with a levy? Or do you want to proceed with taking the money from reserves and going ahead with the 5.5%? And
We're
we'll
at
work from that within. Is that? Councilor Rodnick, please go ahead.
Well, my personal opinion is I think we basically have things stand pat, like basically try to educate the people, get things going. And I agree with Joe and Sandra that unless there's an incentive that they may not do it. But I mean, what we could do is allow the notification period to be a little longer. And by the end of the summer, we can make some sort of assessment as to where we're at, as to where we have to go. And form a committee to look into this, because this is a very complicated thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
particularly because I didn't realize some businesses don't have bins. So, and yet they can put out their 6, 7 garbage bags, bins, whatever, smaller ones, and have pickup and no problem. So it is a bigger issue than what I think we first thought.
Then we're gonna throw in the mix with the short-term rentals.
Sure.
You know, I think like whichever way you wanna go with that, I'm just saying that.
I agree with you on that, Ethel, and I just saw this a little while ago too. The township of Muskoka Lakes is debating new rules that govern short-term rental accommodations, addressing concerns related to rental property management and community impact in the face of a notable apprehension among some rental property owners. If approved, the stricter guidelines would require STRA owners to apply for a license to operate, set the minimum number of rented nights during the peak season to 7 and 3 nights during the rest of the year. Limit the number of renters to 2 per bedroom. So,
Huntsville also looking.
So it's all
Yeah.
part of policy that's in development once we bring forward after the 15th of May, I believe. We're bringing forward the draft to the zoning bylaw amendment. Once that has been approved by council, then we'll proceed with bringing forward recommendations related to implementation of regulation. We've been over those. I think council's all seen some of the drafts, and Tracy and I have been dusting them off along with a number of other municipal ones, because it's become kind of just about everybody's gone ahead and got this done now. So there's a lot of options to look at. So we're taking a closer look at that, and we'll have that back. I would suspect that we would have something in place for our prior to our 2025 budget deliberations in the fall.
Counselor Florent, please go ahead.
One last point. We keep referring to these businesses as the culprits or the owners of the bins, but
And they're not.
we should be referring to it as owners of the bins, period, because it really doesn't matter whether you're commercial or not. And Councillor Kuyak correctly stated that not all businesses have the bins. Our township encouraged the use of these bins because our collectors were going into pretty hospitable environments to pick up garbage that was in sheds at one time. And we just couldn't put our workers in that environment, so we encouraged the use of these bins. And now, here it is, X number of years later, and we want to charge to dump the bins. So it's kind of going round and round. I like Councillor Rodnick's idea that maybe we don't impose it with a hard start date, and we try to go the education route. Like, not all bin owners are a problem. They're not all violating the rules, or so some of the businesses are costing other businesses. You know, if we lump them all together, the good, I don't know what the right term is, but the people that are following the rules and trying to conserve and reduce would end up paying for those that don't. I would say, I would agree with Councillor Rodnick that we extend the period, maybe not charge any fee over the summer. Look at it. Go ahead with the mayor's suggestion of having a committee looking at ways to encourage people to reduce. Look at it again in Sudbury, in September, and see whether the education process is working or not. And then decide whether to go ahead with a fee starting in January. Don't like the idea of, see, that would almost remove all of our contribution to the reserve this year to do that. At least we're not going backwards. It's better than.
We're moving forward, but we're trying.
Yeah, and I agree with the education thing, and it's all education. I would have no problem at all if everybody reduced the volume, but dumping 3 containers 3 times a week is ridiculous. Like, there's absolutely no effort to do anything. And I agree, like, sometimes we're dumping bins of air, like cardboard boxes that aren't broke down, stuff that really should be going in recycling. Bins on Glen Lake where there's a couch in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Can
the
I
other
comment?
Just 1 second, Counselor Collins. I have Counselor Kuyak and then you.
I was
Thank
just
you.
gonna say, I mean, other places, if they have the clear bags, if they see anything that's recyclable, that bag stays there, they don't pick it up, right? I mean, that's how some of the municipalities have gotten so strict with their garbage. So if our guys go see the bins full of things that should be recycled, what do you do? So,
Just pick it up.
right, but should there not be something, again, if you just leave it, okay.
I think that's happening in household stuff too.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
there's stuff being set out that we picking up that maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, bigger problem than what we anticipated.
Counselor Collins?
I hear what everybody's saying and wholeheartedly agree, but maybe we should be encouraging businesses as well to police their bins, maybe lock their bins to prevent other people dumping in the business's bin. And therefore they can police it and police what goes in, to risk not being fined for putting, oh, well, I didn't know X number of boxes got thrown in there. But if you're the only one with the key at a business, then you know exactly what's going in your bin for collection. So an encouragement of locking and policing those bins may well help as well. And they can't blame other people for dumping overnight in their bin.
I hear Counselor Collins on that. I just want to make one quick comment. I have seen, and quite a few times, the bin that's in front of the pharmacy, to the side of the pharmacy, that I think belongs to the motel. And I know for a fact that many of our people just take their garbage and dump it in there. And the business knows that, but it's seen as a service, so it's not on the side of the road. So, you know, I don't know how you police that, and I don't know whether locking it will stop that. I am concerned that we end up, with garbage being left on the side of the road, and that, I think that's a dangerous thing that we should be aware of. Who else did I have warrant to speak?
I'd
No,
like to speak one
go
more
ahead,
time.
Counselor. Counselor Pishon, the floor is yours.
I think there's a lot of business owners out there as well that are not aware of what's going on
Mhm.
right now. So
We should send them a letter.
if we implement, okay, I'm just saying, if we implement that, we have to charge the other businesses that don't have bins,
Mhm.
bag tags, for instance, okay? That's gonna level the playing field, but these people aren't gonna be aware of what's happening until it happens. So getting back to the discussion part of it, this is a big can of worms that we opened up, like a very, very big can of worms. To save money on taxes. Now, one comment that I received, actually, I received a lot of comments, but this one comment in general, was saying, so why, if we didn't add the waste pickup money into our budget, so we increase the taxes, why would the average household owner have to pay for the business's garbage pickup?
Mhm.
That was one of the arguments
But
there.
they are right now.
And we are right now, yes, but nobody was aware of that until we started talking about it.
Oh, yeah, I do, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
As much as I don't like to say it, but I'm thinking that, I don't want to say that we're backtracking. I want to say that we are going to get more knowledgeable about this in discussion and education. And I think that we should put this off until next budget. I really do.
You're suggesting what I had suggested in the first place?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure
I'm
out,
gonna go a go around way. I guess
yeah,
you could
I
sort
know,
of
I
say.
hear, no, I
As much as I can see Jennifer over here going, oh boy,
just.
So you're suggesting we don't do anything?
not right now. I don't think we should, but we're gonna have to increase the tax rate.
5.5%.
We're at 5.5.
We're at 5.5 right now.
Yeah, we're at
We would be
5.5.
reducing the transfer to reserves by the 37,000.
Yeah.
Replace the waste bin revenue.
Right,
So the tax rate will stay the
Stay the
same.
same.
everything remains the same, there's only, there's different, what happens is the amount of money that goes into our reserves won't go in.
Yeah, I know, but
Right.
we should be putting money back in
We,
reserves.
we should be, but
So can I ask a question then, like, because,
Council Clear, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Is that if, before all this started about waste, we were at a 6.75, 6.78%.
7.6.
I can't remember the amount, but yeah.
6.76.
6.76.
Okay, thank you. So you're saying that we can't go there now? And because,
We can go there,
If you go, all the bylaws have been written
yeah,
today for today's meeting. So all those bylaws will have to be deferred until the June 1st meeting.
and why June 1st? Why can't it be our committee meeting thing?
Because all the bylaws have to be rewritten, all the tax rates have to be rewritten, and all of that needs to be re-prepared for council, which is why I suggested, because we do want to get preparing stuff into Opta and getting Opta finished up so that we can issue tax bills. We don't want to kick this out till June. If we can avoid it, it's really late by the time you get into June. That's why I've suggested that we simply reduce the transfer to reserve by the equivalent amount for which we do not collect from the businesses this year, whether that's 10,000 or 37,000, whatever that number is. We would manage it through the return, or through not returning money to the reserve in the current year, knowing everyone is talking about our economic situation in the general public as it relates to their personal finances and their abilities to pay, whether that's a resident or whether that's a business.
so if we deferred, Council Clear, if we deferred this till June and we passed it in June, what would that do to trying to get the tax bills out? Because we are on I'll go right to you, Councilor Floyd. Can you answer that, Jennifer?
Well, we would be preparing it in, early August, actually, sorry, mid-July.
Yeah, okay.
So, and tax bills would be going out very early in August. So,
Okay.
well,
But that's not
doable.
normally the way we would do it, right?
No, we
usually do
generally
it.
don't.
This is the,
And budgets will be back at council table in the fall.
Okay.
for November, yeah, for the fall.
Doing it all over again.
It
Yes.
allows us to move forward with some of the capital projects as well, to have the approval.
We're waiting
some
for
of the
budget.
operating as well.
Thank you for that. Councilor Floyd, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm absolutely opposed to Councillor Pija's idea that we put this on the burden of the residential taxpayers and take it off the commercial taxpayers. The commercial taxpayers, if they're paying, well, including their taxes, I think, but any expenses incurred is before tax dollars. So they write that off of their annual income, so they're not paying tax on that amount. Residential taxpayers are paying with after-tax dollars. So they pay all their taxes first, and then they gotta pay their taxes. If you know what I mean. It's not part of their income tax, for the commercial it is. So it ends up costing the residential taxpayers, in some cases, twice as much. Because of the tax dollar, of the money that they're using to pay their taxes with.
Councilor, any other? Okay, so we'll move on here. So,
So,
Counselor, go
one more
ahead,
thing, and I apologize, and this is gonna be the last time I say.
no, that's
anything.
okay.
So-
That's why we're doing this.
So if we increase the tax rate, we have to go back and we have to redo all the bylaws, and then we have to sit back at the table and do. So I just want to make this perfectly clear with everybody. But if we stick at 5.5% increase, we're going to be.
Taking
not
money out of
deferred.
reserve.
Yes.
We're not gonna
yeah,
put it-
reserve. So-
We will not be putting as much money into reserve.
Yes, I know, and then so we're basically borrowing from Peter
To
to
pay
pay all of
Paul,
No, we're not. We're just not paying one of the bills.
yeah,
Till next year.
till that, we're
it. So next year,
deferring.
So we're just, we're pushing the penny down the railroad.
We're deferring.
But I think at the same time as we're doing now, I think we're all agreed that we go with the mayor's suggestion of coming up with a task force. And encouraging the businesses to reduce the volume that we're putting in these bins. If we could just sit back and do nothing.
Well, no, that's not what that's not at all what I was suggesting. Yeah, absolutely, I'm absolutely for the task force, right? And I'm actually thinking, and I'm surprised that we haven't discussed this, and this is gonna be a discussion about waste management later on down the line, is that there's money in cardboard. And we're giving it away.
The thing with the task force, inevitably, it's going to decide that we're gonna do a fee per bag.
Down the road, for sure.
So right now we got a few businesses opposed to the idea of a fee. Now we're gonna change that for 1,000 people opposing the idea of paying per bag. You know, to me, I'd rather upset 20 than 1,000.
And that's a much wider, bigger discussion too.
It is.
Councilor Floyd. Councilor
But
Floyd,
we seem to be reactionary. If somebody complains, we do something. Somebody complains, we do something. So you think you got complaints now, just wait till you start charging a fee per bag.
Well, I think I said, I think we need to be proactive versus reactive. And setting up a task force maybe is the answer, because you can look at all of the issues, right from the beginning to the end of garbage collection and what we do with it.
We've got people talking now, so
Yes,
let's keep going.
I am in agreement to say, go forward with the 5.5 budget so we can get on and then task force set up for the end of the month and put feelers out, have a date set up and get going on this.
I agree.
Ultimately, you can't pass the buck either. We were elected to make decisions.
Right.
you're right. We were, and we will make that decision shortly. Okay, is there any other discussion on this budget? Any other last minute, any?
I have just one comment.
Councilor
I think-
Collins, go ahead.
we're being accused as a council of not making any changes whatsoever so far. We're being accused of just pushing things down the road, just delaying everything we do. Let's set up a task force. Let's do this. Let's do that. Nothing is happening. And we're over 2 years into, or we're 2 years into our term, and we're not doing anything positive. And in fact, we're going backwards now because we're not putting into reserve what we should be putting into reserve for a rainy day. I think this is a backward step by not doing anything proactive at all. That's my 2 pence. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Collins. Anyone else want to comment?
I will, just to clarify, I think we have been doing a lot. We have the asset management plan done, we have the strategic plan done, the official plan is now done. Is that positive? I would absolutely hope so. It gives us direction and goals that we can set and reach. And does the common person know that? Absolutely not. They would care less if they hadn't, really stumbled across anything on a social media saying, official plan. They just go, well, what's that? Let alone a strategic plan. So I think we've done a lot. We should give credit where credit is due.
And there is a lot of misinformation on
Thank you.
social media.
Absolutely.
Now, that's a whole other issue. Let's deal with the budget if we may, getting it back. Okay, so we need a motion.
I guess all we want is from staff, obviously the bylaws are coming forward, is clarity that we are going to reduce the transfer to reserves. And B, we are not in the current year implementing a fee to the businesses. And C, that there will be a task force undertaken with a composition of staff, council, and the public that will move forward prior to our fall budget with bringing forward some recommendations for consideration. Is that what I get from what we discussed today?
Can I just add that the task force first meeting be set up for May so that it doesn't shift, because we are almost summer.
And I
It would
would,
have to be a different day in May.
Yes.
I would assume that the chair of waste management would be the chair of that
Oh,
committee.
yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Bill.
I was just gonna say that, Bill. Yes, our Councillor
who?
Councillor Bill Rodnick would be chairing that task.
Do you want to set a date now? Everybody's here with their, I guess we have to reach out to the public.
I think we should reach out to the public and see if we have any, we should put something on immediately, asking for people to come forward, including members of the public, not only businesses, if I may.
Okay, should we put a number, how many? Because we could get a whole bunch or.
No, we can decide that I don't think we want it real big and wieldy. We won't get anything done. Let's see what we get from the public, and then we'll decide from there. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Okay, so Brian has put in what he feels what council wants to do now. I know, Council Florence, you was opposed. Am I right?
Pardon me?
You're opposed to what we recommended?
Not entirely.
Okay.
Not enough that I'm gonna vote against the budget.
Okay.
I still think that we should be putting some type of a fee in by September or so.
And maybe the task force will come up with that.
That's possible, but I doubt it.
Well, you never know. Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Can I- One more comment,
go
please.
ahead, Councillor Collins, go ahead.
Just for information, the township that my son lives in, which is down towards Cornwall, they have just decided that they are not going to buy another garbage pickup truck. And they've actually looked for tenders, and they're now having all their garbage subbed out and collected by another company. And I don't know who that company is yet. And they've decided that that was a fiscal responsibility that they were handing over to somebody else. So it's happening all around. Everyone is struggling with garbage, most definitely. And I think we're trying to offer a service that we can't afford. And I think this needs to be looked at seriously and quickly before we're in that situation where we have to sub it out like this township's had to do.
Well, I would be opposed to subbing out waste management, however, that's my personal opinion. I just want to go back to something that one of your counselors that sat at this table for 24 years, and that was Councillor Richard Shallow. And I like his motto, and his motto and what he said at council meetings that I sat in was that there's two things that our taxpayers like in our township. That's waste management and roads. That's garbage pickup and roads. And you know what? It's not too bad a motor to live by. And he echoed that, I'm sure, at almost every meeting that any waste management might have come up at. Anyway, I'm going back to, I think we have a consensus. I'm hearing around the table.
And all of council's bylaws related to the budget and taxation will be brought forward later in the meeting under bylaws for approval.
Yeah, there's the last item, I think, right? Okay, any other discussion, Councillor Collins?
No, not at all.
Thank you. Have you heard from Ian? Yes, no.
He did come in. He said, was there any questions? The fact there was none, he said, to everybody, have a good day.
Oh, well, wish him a good day for us too. Okay, so give me a breather here for a minute.
I think we're at number 10.
Brian's report.
Okay. Oh, you want to follow that one, Brian?
Yeah, so, council, is aware, I was directed to go out with a request for proposals with respect to municipal core service and organizational review. That spawned from the strategic plan, as well as discussions related to the budget and how high the budget needs were, and were we doing everything that we could be doing in the way that we should be doing it. So that RFP went out to 3 different firms who are well known for their work in this. Dillon Consulting, who undertook our roads needs study, Wayfinders, who undertook our strategic plan, and Strategy Corp, which is very well known across the country, and actually they do a lot of work nationally and internationally, who works on projects like this. Wayfinders reached back just before closing and said that they'd been awarded a couple of projects with a large center, and they didn't have the resources to be able to undertake any further work at the current time, and they didn't want to jeopardize their ability to deliver on service. So they backed away. Dillon Consulting acknowledged the receipt of the request for proposals, but did not submit. So we only received one response, and that was from Strategy Corp. Very comprehensive, with a lot of very knowledgeable and skilled people within the organization. Anybody that's attended AMO or Roma or OGRA probably has come across staff from Strategy Corp or the owner who is quite well versed at those conferences. And actually they've done a number of reports for AMO, AMCTO, MFOA, and several other municipal organizations. Their submission to us was for $54,000, and I think that was lower than I had actually anticipated. But I leave it with council to determine whether or not they see value for money in that $54,000, or whether they'd like to just move forward. It is an item that was identified as a priority 1 ranking in our strategic plan. That said, we all understand that financial capacity is always a challenge, and this year is an extreme challenge.
So, comments, questions? Councillor Floyd, go ahead, please.
I'm certainly not prepared to go ahead with an organizational review, especially in light of the discussions we just had on the budget and garbage collection. I can tell you what's wrong with this township for 10 cents.
Okay, thank you.
You're hired.
See if I.
You going around the table?
Yes,
I do see value in it. I don't see value in it right at the moment. I think, just looking at the quick review that, that Stephen provided us with in regards to the dump and all of the waste collection, waste disposal, et cetera. I think something like that, these people would have added a little more detail to it as to what they felt or where areas were that they could maybe streamline, et cetera. Not saying that Stephen didn't do a complete job. He certainly provided us with what we needed. These would just do a step up. So I do believe that there is merit to having something like this done, especially if we're increasing taxes for all. Don't you think we would want to look at how we're doing things and if there was money being able to be saved or efficiencies? I don't think we need to do it today or next week. It could be postponed to next year.
okay, Councillor Pigeon.
I'm in agreement with that. It definitely, because it is part of our strategic plan, we have to do it. But right now, in the smelting pot that we're in right now, I don't think it's feasible, but it does have to get done.
Thank you. Councillor Rodnick.
See.
Councillor,
I agree with Joan. I think focus on the waste management.
Councillor Collins. Is she still there? Councillor Collins, did you have anything to add?
I do believe we can't afford 54,000 at the moment. I think we could do a little bit of this ourselves and go a little way ourselves for the next year or so. But I think 54,000 is too much for us to put aside for this type of work. That's my personal opinion.
So am I hearing around the table to defer this?
There's a resolution in the package
Is
as
there a
well, so
resolution?
yeah.
I just withdraw the resolution. Yeah, and what I would suggest is that when we're planning next year's deliberation for budget, we can decide if this is something we want to incorporate into the 2025 budget.
Okay.
If it is, it's given us a planning number, and it probably isn't a firm number at this point. But it'll give us a planning number with respect to budget planning. And if council wants to go ahead at that point, we'll go back with a new RRFP once the funding's been allocated, if the funding gets allocated for it.
Thanks, thank you. Okay, next item I have is the Township Merchants and Island Recreation Committee. Councillor Floyd? Anything to?
Nothing jumps out at me, and I forgot my day planner with all my notes at home, so
That's okay.
I really have nothing that I can add. Unless somebody has some questions, I might be able to answer them.
Any questions for Councillor Floyd on the rec information? Well, you had two very successful events, I guess, so thank you.
Yeah, they've been very successful.
Yeah,
with their-
people look forward to them, and that's great.
I don't have a dollar figure for what they raised at the trivia night on Monday night, but 100% of those proceeds will be donated to the St. Francis Valley Healthcare Foundation.
That's great. Thank you. Moving on to the Whitney Rec Committee. Councillor.
Yeah, I'll just give you they're in the process now of getting candidate day ready. The poker run is next Saturday, I believe. Candidate day, and I think at this point, from a beautification standpoint, we're getting ready to do our planting. Tickets are still available. There's been a few new members come aboard the rep committee, so it's great. Lots of interest there. Yeah, it's all good. And I think I haven't heard of a date yet for the public meeting, but they are working towards that.
Okay, thank you. Good. I think that, Joe's been in talking to agreement about the opening. Okay, thank you. On the raise the roof, eh? Yeah, thanks very much. Councillor Pigeon. Anything you want to,
Nope.
okay.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, is there any other committee meetings that I forgot?
I think you got them all.
Okay, so now we're on to the action, resolutions.
Yeah, the only thing that's not a resolution is the North Hastings Community Center arena information. They're looking for, I believe, $1,500 for this year to help fund the arena in Bangor.
Okay, so, but there's no resolution on
There's
this.
no resolution.
So just a request for
It's a
$1,500?
request, yeah. And that was a pretty lengthy report and documents that they put in there showing that,
Maybe if council wouldn't mind, I can kind of provide a bit of a historical context without getting into Hastings specifically related to the rink, but just in general, I actually did a presentation to the minister responsible a number of years ago, related to the operation of municipal arenas. So I'm kind of familiar with their concern and why they're coming to council. So what happens in all of our centralized communities that have hockey rinks, they bring, not every community has one, so there's outliers that are based on a geographic area assigned by minor hockey. That's the area they have to go to. Figure skating kind of allows them to a little more freedom, so they can go to Barry's Bay or they can go to Bancroft, but based on your physical geography, you're assigned to a certain arena that's your quote home arena. And that's where, if you live within that area, you have to go to that rink to play your hockey. My experience has been none of these small municipal arenas are money makers. They don't run 24 hours a day. There isn't support for running 24 hours a day, unlike in the big cities where some of them have 2 or 3 ice pads running 24 hours a day. The cost of operating them far exceeds the cost of revenues generated by the hourly rental. And what happens is that the balance is borne by the tax base. So what generally happens historically is the tax base is absorbing it, and at some point the municipality does a little homework and realizes 50%, 49% of my residents that people that play hockey here don't live here, but we're paying 100% of the cost. So we think we should share that cost, and they go back and they look at their membership statistics and registration statistics and determine this area has this many people coming, this many people from this area, and they assign a percentage to it, and they go back and a lot of times will ask the municipality, will you pay it? Well, I know when I was in BV, we had a municipal shared service agreement with North Algona Wilberforce, and they paid us X amount annually towards their residents. But we had other municipalities that didn't want to do that. So we charged a user fee. And that's how we collected our money. We had 10 users. 10 users was say $150 a user. We collected our $1,500. So that was kind of the two models that I've seen. Not all municipalities want to. I mean, you support Hastings Highlands and Bancroft's concerns. Barry's Bay is probably next. Saying, well, we've got 50-year residents coming up here for hockey. So really it's a council decision. My experience is it's not always a municipality that wants to get involved because you may have 2 or 3 or 4 rinks that you're supporting. So anyway, I'll leave that 1,500 with council, but that's kind of where that all came from. In a historical context without Hastings Highlands, their story is probably exactly the same.
Just to carry on with what you said, we had this with council before where we support other arenas. And I remember somebody saying, well, you can't support Barry's Bay because we play hockey in Bancroft. Bancroft would say, well, no, Whitney plays in Barry's Bay. And I'm going back a while, but I think we ended up supporting both of them at one point. if I remember correctly. Councillor Ward, you may have some additional.
Well, I think you're
information.
absolutely right, and we have, and it's a strange setup when our residents have the choice of which arena to go to.
Right.
I don't think there's a choice for figure skating anymore, because I don't think there is a program in Barry's Bay. There has been in the past, so. In this one respect, the old local services board that I was a member of, the government recognized this problem about rinks, and they give us money to give to rinks. It's never transferred over to a municipality to give it,
Right.
for them to give us that money to support the rinks and adjoining municipalities. Try to convince your representatives to join the service board instead of joining the, making a new township, but they wouldn't listen to me.
And I don't
My
think this,
time, Joe.
yeah, I don't think this is, I think this is also not just hockey, it's skating and carnivals and all of that, is it not?
Yeah, like some of this could be like, Councilor Florin alluded to that only, there's figure skating is going on in Bancroft. So
Bancroft,
maybe
figure
that's some of these 1.5%.
I think so.
Yeah, I know that, when my son played hockey, we played in Barry's Bay, and I believe, it's been a while, that we paid, extra costs, user fees, basically, because we weren't from that township.
That's right, yeah. I think the one I remember was, I'm in the Sidehawks, and it might have been the Mormons. I went going back in time. I remember when they used to play and say, well, we play one place in Bangor, one place in Barry's Bay. So anyway, it did come up. It's not, I don't think it's new. I think it's just kind of come to light again, so.
It's almost parallel to the hospital situation.
It is, right,
Yeah.
You just go one way or the other, right?
yeah.
Because my son played hockey in Bancroft.
Did he?
But,
Yeah.
but we had to pay extra because we were from out of that township.
I know, yeah, and even the figure skating, I think they have to help pay too. Like, there's a charge for them to join the figure skating and that.
So the parents have to work at bingo.
Gotta do more bingos, yeah, everything fun, selling things. Anyway, it's up to council to whether you want to donate the $1,500 to the North Hastings Community Center Arena. There isn't a resolution here. Okay, it's in the hands of council.
I'm not going to propose it, but I certainly wouldn't, be opposed to donating the $1,500. The only thing is, when you do that, and we haven't in the past, it's kind of opening the door. Well, next year we need 3,000 and so on. So it'll be based on the law.
Do I have a mover and a seconder to move the resolution?
I'll move it.
I don't have a resolution.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna, I think we're just gonna go with staff direction through the minutes. Is that ready?
That bring back a resolution for the next
For the next,
meeting.
yeah, we could do that.
Okay, so we're gonna bring back the resolution for next meeting, and we can discuss it then, figure out whether we can support it or not. Is that okay with members of council? Okay, the next resolution is the Township of Amarath regarding municipal budget funding. Is that Council Collins? Are these the two that we didn't deal with that last
Yeah,
meeting?
all the other ones can be considered during the resolution.
They're all-
They're all
Oh, okay,
within that.
This is sheet 96 is
So you're gonna
information.
discuss them when we're doing the motions then?
Yeah. We'll bring them back for discussion when we do our motions.
I'm just going back to my agenda now, okay? Okay, so I did the committee reports, we did staff reports. Is there any council reports? Counselor, well, yeah, go ahead.
So I sat in on the first meeting for Renfrew County District Drug Strategy, the 25th. Very good discussions. I can share if anybody's really interested in the information that they provided. It seems like we've had an increase in overdoses over the last year, from an 8 a year to a 39. So they are concerned. At the end of the meeting, they basically are going to try to come up with a steering committee to meet on a regular basis to see if there's anything that we can do throughout our area. I had jotted down a few things just that I thought maybe as we could do, or I would suggest that we could do, would be, mental health, education, drug prevention, education. Again, the opioid that is out there right now is fentanyl, but it does, contain a different drug that, the Narcan doesn't work totally with. So again, just thinking, to myself, that if a business owner wanted to, get some Narcan and keep it at hand at their business, particularly those, with, restaurants or taverns, that it would be probably a handy thing, and it is free of charge and can be picked up at the drugstore. Actually, any of us could carry some with us if we wanted to.
Is there not a training course for that? No.
Is there an expiration date on that?
Probably. Most drugs have an expiration, but it has been free for some time, so.
Councilor Counselor, what group is this?
Redford County District.
Health unit,
Yeah,
So it's through the health unit? I was
to
just
the
thinking-
health unit.
I was just
No,
thinking how this
no.
could line with our community safety well-being.
it's not,
It's not-
it's not the health unit.
No,
It's a steering committee that's been set up, so it's a drug strategy, Renfrew County
I wonder-
District Drug Strategy. They were probably sitting there as part of that group, but EMS was there, mental health was there.
I was just thinking if Mira knows about this through that community safety well-being plan, like, because I know that they were looking for groups and all that, so if I can get some, I'm gonna see Mira this weekend, so.
I think that,
bring them-
but it was
all together.
originated out by Dr. Morgenstern, out of the health unit,
Out
that
of
was
the
trying to
health
put together a steering committee.
To see what.
My
we can do.
understanding was,
Yes.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
and I, yeah, so
I feel like all these groups
I'm
work
sure
together,
that
we might
she's
be able to get
aware of it.
somewhere, because
I'm pretty sure she'd be aware of it because that's where it initiated out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
First I've heard.
thanks, Joan, for doing that.
Yeah, I will, again, probably sit on at least one more just to see where they're headed. And there was, Pembroke, counselor as well, or CAO was sitting there. I think I was the only other counselor. So I'm not too sure where, as a township, this would lead us, but because really.
Well, this came out of
It's for public
discussions
health.
at the health unit.
Yes.
And I personally raised it at one point as to what we are, along with other people, what we are doing, because we had 3 drug overdoses in Kittilou
Yes.
in one day.
Yeah.
And so there was discussion about it, and then Dr. Morgenstern put out an email asking to see if anyone was interested in
Right.
sitting on this committee.
So it's just very.
Yeah, and so I
at the
sent it out
infancy
to members of
stage.
council, and Councilor Kuyak offered to go. So I think it's the beginning of an up and running steering
Something,
committee.
yes,
Yeah, I do,
absolutely.
yeah, because it's hitting all of our communities. Bancroft is on the rise, as is every community, I'm sure, with the drug overdose.
Does that fire department carry Naloxone, or what's the other?
Narcan.
Narcan?
Narcan?
Do
Not
they
sure.
carry it?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
No.
I could be wrong.
If somebody dials 911, do they not get everybody? You know, the
Apparently,
police, EMS and.
You get the
fire.
option to.
Yeah, they ask
Uh,
you what-
They ask you which one.
Is Ian on the line?
Mhm.
I just wondered if Ian was on the line.
Yeah, that's just a.
Anyways, I think from a, community standpoint, we've been very fortunate. Is it out there? Absolutely, I was still working Emerge when we had our first OD, from our area. And I think that was, gosh, it would have been in the 90s probably, and everybody was in an uproar at that point. Not a lot got done, because it was sort of a one-off thing, but as the problem arises, it's not just drug use, it's the mental health that goes
Mental
along
health
with it.
addiction,
And it's the
homelessness.
homelessness and,
Lack of
it's just
housing.
everything. So I think if anything, I'd love to see public health come in and do some education, not just for, the users, but the general public, so
Right.
that they are aware too of what's there, what's available.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything else, Councillor Kuya?
Not under whatever you asked,
Okay.
council report.
Anything under the council report? Councillor Ford, anything you want to add?
No.
Oh, good. We're quiet
Well,
today.
just that grant for the fireworks for the recreation come in, and it was halved from last year, or almost halved.
Oh, really?
I think it's on, last year was over $2,000 a piece, this year I think it's 1,400 a piece, something like that.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
So it's still something, but it's not what we're used
It's
to.
not what it was.
mm,
It's too bad they couldn't do it alternate areas, right?
yeah, be nice.
It's very restricted on the conditions too.
Yeah.
Really?
Councillor Peach, anything you want to add?
No.
Councillor Rodney? Councillor Saida, Councillor Collins, are you still on? They left.
I am still here, but I don't
Okay.
have any report, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any business arising from the minutes? Okay, is there any unfinished business anyone wants to?
Just
Counselor?
one quick thing that
I
came
don't.
to my attention late yesterday afternoon. Just wanting an update, I guess, or another letter sent out about the Opeongo spiny water flea. There was not really any clarification on that letter that came back from the minister. And if we could send out another letter just to, I don't know, ask for.
Did we send a letter already? or-
We received a response,
It's in the basis species.
and it was very, thanks for the letter, basically, there was no action behind it, basically, that they were just gonna keep an eye
Yeah.
on things, and that they were very proactive when it comes to that.
Okay, that's fine.
There is a very good article on CTV News, on the CTV News app about the spiny water flea, and the other one, it's the fish hook water flea. Instead of having a spine with barbs, it's got a hook shape. And just a public awareness thing about making people aware of emptying their bilge tanks and things like that. People
No action.
go to another water body. And that they're becoming rapidly invasive in most of the water bodies in Ontario. But the level has gone down in Lake Simcoe, and they're trying to study why it's gone down in Lake Simcoe as opposed to going up everywhere else.
Okay, so does that answer?
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else under unfinished business? Just for I'll do it under new business, I can do it. Go under action items now. Any action items under correspondence?
The action items are all, we've covered them.
Okay, we covered them, so we're going on to information items that are in your kits, a lot of it. There's lots of reading. Any new business? Councillor Kuya, go ahead.
I would just like to make a recommendation, to have staff update us on the strategic plan and how we're doing, and I know everybody's gonna say, oh, we just had the, budget passed, but I would assume we are still sort of working on that, and the only reason I bring it up is because when I was reading, all of, the DSAB information, they give a nice, review, on things, sort of what their plan is, and then their action items underneath. And I just thought, oh yeah, we should be doing something like that for our strategic plan goals.
Okay,
I would, and I know, and if I remember correctly, we said definitely every year we'd be looking at it, because we'd have to set up next year's priorities. But it would be nice to know how we're doing as we go forward, maybe every 6 months or so.
okay,
Just one,
Councillor Ford, go ahead.
I just want to bring everybody's awareness to the information item regarding the council remuneration. There was a mistake they made there in my mileage. And I'm sure that it's the topic of discussion on some of the local social
Are you
media.
making the news again?
Yes.
No, you're right.
Maybe I can clarify that for everyone. So when the report was initially generated, it was done from an Excel spreadsheet that grabbed the PDF, that created the PDF. And the Excel spreadsheet had a column that wasn't the full width. And in it, it said expenses, comma, mileage. We've corrected it. What's on the website shows expenses. It's not just mileage. So if you've attended a conference, the conference registration fee, if you've attended the conference, you've had hotel fees. If you've attended the conference, you probably had mileage and you probably had meals. So all of those expenses that you submit on a monthly basis, along with anything associated with a conference that you may have attended on behalf of the municipality, is all rolled into that number. So obviously, Councillor Florent, you attended Olgra and Phonom and a couple of other things last year, Olgra, I believe, for the township. And because of that, your expenses are up higher than somebody that maybe attended one conference or maybe didn't attend any. So that's why there's such a variation in the expenses. And also because you get paid to attend as if you were, at a meeting. So each day you're away, you're also getting an increase in your payments. So that also goes into your honoraria costs. So that's why there's a bit of a variation in special meeting costs there. So just to identify how that breaks down, Ethel, of course, because she sits at DSAB and she sits at the county for the health unit. Both of those submit a number to me for which I put into the report. So the total report for Mayor LaValle is for everything she's done on behalf of the township, as well as everything she's done at the County of Renfrew, the District of Nipissing Social Services Board, which includes a conference, I believe, that they sent her to. So that's why the expenses show the way they do. It's not just mileage, which appeared in the original document that went out to council. Does that help clarify things for you, Councillor Florent?
Oh, it was always clear to me. It's just-
I know.
Want to make sure everybody else is clear.
That's why, yes, I was scratching my head when I saw that, thanks for bringing that up.
Any other new business? I'm just going around the room here. No? Councillor Collins, you have any new business?
No, no new business, but looking at the remuneration setup, I can't believe that mine is so much lower than anyone else's, because I attended Roma, and there was obviously a mileage cost in there, and I don't understand why mine is so much lower than anybody else's. That's all.
That's a total expense for 2023.
Oh, okay.
Right?
It didn't
Yeah,
include
that's-
Roma. All right, that's
No,
understandable now.
2023, I don't believe you attended any conferences.
No, I did
last
not.
year.
No, I did not. Okay.
That would be your honorarium and all of that then,
Yes.
in there. Okay. Just a quick, I mean, you've all seen this, but from the housing needs and supply study is out. I reiterated our concerns again at the board meeting. They're well aware of it. Staff is trying to digest all of this. I've given you, I thought I had sent it, I apologize, the news release that DSAP put out about it. I've got a better copy, if anybody, I'm gonna leave it at the township here, that you might be able, because it's hard to read on computer for me. So there's a much better copy here if some of you want some reading. It's a very thick document, and one of my comments, I think, was, it's too bad that both studies came down at the same time, in my view, because it's a lot to try to digest, and it's all a lot for the staff to try to work through. So they're working through it. They certainly know where we're coming from. So I just want to share that with you. And I don't know whether there's, that was the big thing.
Something that stood out to me was the number of Airbnbs, that's in over 80.
Over 80 Airbnbs in this township is what they identified, and there's probably more, that's based on, that's based like on the information they took back, what, a year ago?
No, there is a site that has documented,
Yeah.
how many there are, so there's 80 distinct properties, which encompass 105 rental properties within the township.
Well, you could make some money from that. couldn't you?
So there's a substantial number. I mean, now the thing about when they did that high level study, I would suspect a high probability that there was a generalization. So places like Bongo Picks as an example, I believe that's how he runs his business is through Airbnb and those types of platforms. He may have been identified as an Airbnb, where he's a commercial Airbnb, a commercial business using Airbnb as his platform. So there may be a few of those, but yes, there were 80 distinct properties and 105 rentals available on Airbnb, which is pretty significant for a community of our size.
Yeah, and that's noted. The other thing, I attended the Good Roads Convention, just finished, so I don't have any kind of written thing out for you, but there was a couple of things. I attended a whole session on climate change. There was an economist there that did about an hour on climate change. And it really opened my eyes. You know, I think of climate change and put it over here and, you know, maybe we don't think about it, but we as a township are going to have to stop and start thinking about climate change. I then went to another session on climate change where there was a panel talking about it. And of course, the premier was there along with some ministers. I didn't meet with, I went to the booth with one of the people that was, promoting tiny homes. I'll give you that business card. Had a discussion with him. One of our staff members and our road superintendent also attended. So I think it was, I always feel these conferences and sessions, you get out of them what you put in. I felt it was good. I felt that, I also think it was good for our road superintendent and one of our staff members to be there. So, I don't know whether the council has any questions for me on things that are going on. It's certainly been busy at DSAP, I can tell you that much. Health unit, you know, we had the turn down of the amalgamation, so, you know, I think everybody read what's going on in the newspapers with the warden and, the health unit and all of that kind of things that are going on, so it's busy, to say the least. Anyway, if you have any questions, I'll certainly try to answer them. Okay, so I'm going to move on then to motions of council, if you may. The first motion is.
Can I have a comment about those motions of council?
Yes, please.
The top three seem to be, like, why wasn't that just one motion instead of three separate motions?
Because, 3 of them have police background checks, so that doesn't need to happen, and 1 of them doesn't. 1 of them is a member, going to be a member, and the other one's just want to be volunteers, and the way our application is set up, you can check off where you want to be a member or a volunteer.
That's right, okay.
So I think Brian and I kind of talked about, like, when there's volunteers, as long as they have a favorable background check, why can't they go to the chair of the rec committee and go through that way instead of, you know, being accepted by the committee instead of a member?
Yeah.
With membership being passed by council. So, I think we need to look at how that is laid out, but that's why that is the way it is.
I think the reason for that is because volunteers have to be registered as a volunteer in order to be covered by.
Our WSAB.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that's why that's the way it is. I was
Yeah.
hoping I would get the police background check back on 1 of them, and then I would have added all 4 of them together.
My other comment on the motions is, we had agreed some time ago to only endorse motions from other councils coming from the original presenter of the motion, and repeatedly in here, that's not the case. And in one case, there is no original. presenter.
And for our June meeting, we have, staff have started to eliminate anything that doesn't originate or anything that references supporting someone else. Simply because it is a lot of work for us to track on a weekly, daily and monthly basis.
And I think that we could look at different ways of trying to really do these.
Yeah, and I think some of those could be approved through a consent agenda. It would just save us a lot of time as well.
That's
So
what they,
we're moving there. I've reached out to a couple of neighbors that do that, including Madawaska Valley. Sue's doing consent agendas up there now, so we're gonna hopefully get that modified sooner than
Mary
later.
Ann from the health unit, district social service board, very familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we should look at consent agendas, so you're,
I'm not a fan, but,
yeah,
one thing, it'll make every counselor look at it and read every single one of them to make sure which ones they want to consent to
right,
under one platform.
under one platform, so it kind of eliminates going through each one.
Well, I think in this one, there's only about 4 that I agree to the whole thing, but.
Okay, well, I have to go through every one, Counselor Lloyd.
Yeah, but
Right now,
518.
right here.
Yeah, I know. What is it?
518.
I know we have to vote.
I lost my page, so I.
Okay, so the first one is, to accept volunteers for the recreation committee, so I need a mover and a seconder. And we can try to move through these.
What page is it?
We're on 18,
518.
518, Counselor Pisa. What, 518 today?
You can type the number in the side of your thing.
No, I can't.
The screen's all messed up.
Okay, so
I'm happy to move that one.
been moved by Counselor Collins. Do I have a seconder for the first one?
I will.
Counselor Florent,
Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts Jason Cornier, Emily Zilney, Lance Zilney as volunteers for the Whitney Recreation Committee.
been duly moved and seconded. Do I have any discussion? Seeing none, I'm calling the question. All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next one, I need a mover and a seconder to accept Irma Jabroy as a member of the Whitney Recreation Committee.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councilor Sidoff, seconded by Councilor Kuya.
That Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts Irma Jabroy as a member of the Whitney Recreation Committee.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, is carried. Next one. Accept Sandra Cornier as a volunteer for the Recreation Committee, pending a favorable OPP background check. Need a mover? Kuya, Councilor Kuya? Councilor Sidoff?
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts Sandra Cornier as a volunteer for the Whitney Recreation Committee pending a favorable OPP background check.
Been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next one, we deferred it now.
Withdrew that.
Okay, withdrawn. The next one is Township to proclaim May 5th to May 11th as Emergency Preparedness Week.
I'll move that.
Councilor Floyd, Councilor
second
Rodney.
it.
Oh, thank you, Councilor Collins has been seconded.
That Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin proclaim May 5th to May 11th, 2024 as Emergency Preparedness Week.
Been duly moved to second. Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next one is to support the resolution from the Township of Amara. Is this brought, who's this brought by?
There's two, so the Residential Tenancy Act and livable wage is from Councillor Collins from before, the rest are from Councillor Kuyak.
Okay, so this one from Councilor Kuya? Okay, and Councilor Kuya, are you moving this?
Yes, I will.
I need a seconder to get it on the floor.
I'll move it. Or second it.
Okay,
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin support the resolution for the Township of Amaranth regarding municipal budgeting funding.
discussion on this motion? See none, All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. The next one is the resolution for the municipality of St. Charles in the town of Aylmer. Was this one of yours, Counselor Cleo?
Councillor Collins.
Oh, it's Counselor Collins?
No,
Counselor Collins?
it's not mine, no.
It's not,
It was her, it was yours from the last meeting when you weren't
Oh,
here. and-
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I knew it wasn't from this one. Yeah, okay, I'll propose that.
moved by Counselor Collins, seconded by Counselor Kuyak.
A council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin support the resolutions from the municipality of St. Charles and the town of Aylmer regarding potential consideration for amendments to the Residential Tenancies Act.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion, Counselor?
I'm opposed to this motion, as I think there is the Residential Tenancy Act is heavily weighted towards the tenants. And I think it is actually contributed to the housing shortage. Because people have just thrown up their hands, owners have thrown up their hands and say, I'm not renting to residential renters anymore. It's either short-term rentals or I'll have some other business in that building. Time after time after time, there's a couple in Madawaska right now are going through it. It took them years to get a tenant out of the building. And now I think it's $30,000 or $35,000 in repairs.
Yeah. Thanks, Counselor Floyd. Any other discussion on this motion?
I
I've seen
believe
it.
the new Tenancy Act actually stipulates the grounds that you can remove somebody. So I think it's addressing a little bit of that issue, the new Tenancy Act. It doesn't give them more power. It actually lists the reasons why they can be removed.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? I need you to put all opposed. Okay, are you, you're in favor, Counselor Collins?
I am, yes.
Okay, we have all opposed. Can I have Counselor Pigeon? Okay, so we're tied.
No, we're not. You haven't voted.
You haven't made a decision.
I was just gonna make one.
You can't do that after you've decided that it's tied. Your vote isn't a tiebreaker.
No, I know it's not.
Okay.
I have one vote. Okay, I'm gonna carry it. Okay, the next resolution. That's you, Counselor Collins.
I would like this on the table, so I'll propose it.
Been moved by Counselor Collins, seconded by, do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Counselor Kuyak is seconded.
A council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin support the resolution from the municipality of St. Charles and the county of Prince Edward, urging the federal and provincial governments to establish a guaranteed livable income.
Been duly moved and seconded. Counselor Floyd?
I'm opposed to this one as well. Every single time that a living wage is brought up, it contributes to inflation, and it encourages people that just are too lazy to go to work to just give up and not go to work. Because why would you go to work for minimum wage if they're going to guarantee you minimum wage for sitting at home? It does not make any sense to me. It does not reward hard workers at all. It rewards the lazy bums.
Can I?
Counselor Collins?
The reason I wanted this on the table for discussion was I believe that this also includes a living wage for our elderly and our retired personnel. It was not just aimed at those of working age. And I think this may go some way to looking for a better old age security for our elderly. and those that are struggling as they get older. So I just wanted it brought to the table for a discussion about those that are on fixed income and those that are struggling because of age and not had the opportunity to put away as much as maybe they would have liked to have done. It was proposed to actually evoke some sort of discussion. I totally agree with Councillor Florent with regards to people that can go out and get a job, but there are very minimal jobs that people over the age of 65 or 60 even can go and actually do. They can't do construction, they can't do heavy lifting in the mills, etc., etc. So I was hoping that this, by bringing it in, could actually give a better living wage for those that are struggling and on retirement.
Okay. Been duly moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
One more comment. I would suggest, Councillor Collins, that you introduce a motion to increase or have a petition the federal government to increase the CPP and the old age security instead of proposing a living wage that includes all democracy. I'm at a loss for words. Includes all people instead of just the seniors. I admire your attempt to increase.
I agree with you, most definitely with that. I do agree with you.
It's also stating that if you look, ODSP, SB is for your, people that are on a disability, and that could be a variety of reasons. So we can't just single out the freeloaders of the world. We need to look at it in general, so. That would be.
Yeah, the Ontario works at $733.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have nothing against this. This is, I think, a wonderful thing, and like Joe says, and Sandra, the elder we are, it's becoming less and less likely that they can survive on what they have for CPP and old age.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, we call the vote. All in favor? Opposed is carried. Councillor Ford, can you just table for 2 minutes? Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
The next motion is the one proposed by the municipality of Wawa. Need a mover and a seconder.
I'll second.
A council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin support the resolution from the municipality of Wawa regarding causing advancements on proposed Highway 413 and redirecting funds to support municipal infrastructure costs and housing construction initiatives.
Again, I'll speak to that because I'm opposed to that one as well. I don't know how the town of Wawa would possibly think that a highway proposed for 600 kilometers south of them is going to benefit municipal infrastructures. It's a 4-lane highway within a 45-minute commute of Toronto.
I think what they were suggesting is that instead of spending the money on a highway in Toronto, that they look at infrastructure and the lack of, or the cost of within the whole province, and disperse that money where needed. Do they need another 4-lane road?
That's the way I read that too.
Yeah, I think they do need another 4-lane road now. So taking the mayor's chair, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? It's carried. The next one is motion by the town of Plimpton, Wyoming and the municipality of St. Charles for the municipalities to be able to retain surplus funds from tax sales. That's the one I think that I have a note that there is no original mover in either of these. They're both just endorsing motions from other councils.
How did you see, or where did you see that? Or why did you note that?
Not sure.
I know we have to look again.
Notepad is not here.
The one from Plimpton, Wyoming is supporting the resolution from the municipality of St. Charles.
Oh, there it is. I see that there.
And the one in St. Charles is referring to correspondence item number 19. So they got it from somebody else. But I'll ask for a mover and a second.
Surplus funds, tax.
So right now, currently, if we have a tax sale, and we sell the property, the funds for that to the province, they used to come to the township, I think in 2018, we used to be able to apply to the.
So what used to happen is whenever you had,
That one was covered.
when you have a municipal tax sale, you're required to offer it for sale at the value of the outstanding taxes.
Right.
So if that property is 3 years in arrears and they owe you $6,000, we're required to offer it at $6,000, and then it becomes a bidding process.
Okay.
So if somebody bids 20,000 and gets that, there's $14,000 profit from that sale. The municipality gets to keep its 6, and it returns 14,000 to the court. So in bygone years.
Yep.
After 12 months, if nobody claimed that, the municipality could go back and it would be paid out of court to the municipality. So it would become our revenue. But a few years ago, the province of Ontario decided to change the legislation they have in play, and they decided that they would keep that money. So now when there's a surplus tax sale and it's an unredeemed amount that doesn't get claimed out of court, then the province gets the money instead of it being able to be applied for and returned to the municipality within which the money was collected in the first place.
We're really providing an incentive for municipalities and tax sale. Well, we don't like taking people's property anyway, but.
A lot of times these properties that get sold, they might be in a state where maybe there isn't even an heir to the estate, right? So when there's nobody that knows they can go get that money or has a legal right to go get it, so the money ends up coming back, and it never was a lot. I mean, I'm probably had 4 or 5 in my 30 years that actually I got anything back at a municipal level. But the thought that those few dollars was being taken now by the province, I fully understand why there's, some people that are a little upset about it, I guess.
We had one not that long ago in Lyle Township that I think they had about $3,000 taxes owing, and the property sold for 60,000. So it can be a significant amount of money. I think in that case, we did get the money back, didn't we?
Probably, yeah, I think any ones that we've done, we've got them back, but moving forward, we will.
There's one, in one of our adjoining townships, the minimum bid on it was 10,000 and change.
That's the taxes owed, yeah.
That's the taxes owed, and the neighboring property is almost the exact same property, and its asking price is 99.9 for it. So, yeah, there's a big difference between that.
And somewhere in between, somebody may actually pay 70 or 60 or 70,000 because they want that property, right?
So, yeah, I always thought that it came back to the township. I wasn't aware of this, it went back to the province.
No, we paid into the court, and it's just in the last 4 or 5 years that they've changed the legislation. And now the money gets paid out to the province at the end of the day and not back to the municipality.
In any case, I presented that, but I don't think I asked for a motion for it. So I'll make the motion to adopt that.
I'll second.
Motion to adopt.
Motion, no second.
Council for the Corporation of
Joe's moving.
Township of South Algonquin support the resolutions from the town of Plimpton, Wyoming, and the municipality of St. Charles regarding allowing municipalities to retain surplus funds from tax sales.
Okay, it's been moved by Council Floyd, second by Council Kuyak. So any other discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, the next resolution is to support the resolution from the town of Godrich regarding private well testing. Is that?
I brought that up. It looks like they are the province is, not proceeding with the recommended phase out of free private well testing. So I took that as that they are no longer going to provide testing of wells free from our public health, which is where it goes.
Is that what we think that is? Okay, well, to move by Council Kuyak, I have a seconder, Councilor Sidoc.
The council for the corporation, of the township of South Algonquin, supports the resolution from the town of Goderich regarding the request to the province to not proceed with the recommended phase out of free private well testing in Ontario.
Not quite sure why they would want to do that.
Surprise, surprise, I'm opposed to this as well. I'm a great believer in user pays. If I use a service, I pay for it. If I don't use a service, I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Well, I think it's a service that Ben, go ahead, I'll see if any other discussion. I think it's a service that has been here as long as I can remember. I think we still have a lot of private wells in this township, and I would support this motion. Okay, Council Collins, anything? No? Okay, I have called.
I would like to support it, so,
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna call the question, and all in favor? Opposed, it's carried.
Somebody's got to do it.
That the council support the resolution from Clearview Township regarding the endorsement of Bill C-63. Is this one, Councilor Kuya?
Yes.
Been moved by you, I need a seconder. I need a, oh, Councilor Sidoc, I was looking there, okay, thank you, get on the floor.
I skipped one.
Did you? Did I skip it?
This is the one about cyberbullying.
Yeah, and child pornography.
Okay, do you have to read it?
Well,
I'm waiting for, are they having discussion? That was what I was
it's
waiting for.
not really.
You have to, so it's been moved and
It's
seconded.
been moved in second.
Okay,
And I've read it.
Oh,
Did I
okay.
read it? I'm sorry.
okay,
The
so,
Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin support the resolution from Clearview Township regarding the endorsement of Bill C-63 in the House of Commons.
so it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Councilor Florent,
Surprise again.
that's okay.
This is a clearly disguised move to, and it's already happened on Facebook, where you can't have any news on Facebook because it might not be true. And the
Right.
Liberal Party of Canada and Justin Trudeau have decided that you can't criticize the government because it might not be true. So it's included in this.
Bill C-63?
It is.
Okay,
And it says, where is it? Oh, it's in my phone, where a couple of the things that you can't criticize are, like, the Trudeau declared that truckers convoy to be illegal. You cannot go on any news media and say that you disagree with that,
with his comment,
because it's censored. You can't do that.
right?
So if it would have been just against child pornography or luring, be all in favor of it. But it's so typical of the Liberal Party to throw stuff in under on the second or third page.
We're not discussing
Hoping that
which
it-
party you belong to, we're discussing this resolution, Councilor Florent.
I know, but Bill C-63 is a federal bill,
Yes, it
and
is.
in fact, it's already been passed, so this is a little redundant.
Well, they've endorsed it, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. Any other discussion on it?
No, yeah, there's more to it than that. I shouldn't have, how do you say that?
I looked it
Very
up.
quickly voted for it. I should have read into it a little more, into Bill C-63.
I researched Bill C-63. All you gotta do is Google it and see.
It might not be true, though.
Yeah.
It's on the internet, it's gotta be true.
Okay, well, I have to call the motion because is there any other discussion on this motion? If you're not in favor, you can vote it down, right? Okay, so, any other discussion? I don't see any, so I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Everybody has to vote. Opposed? It's
I
defeated.
oppose too.
Okay, it's defeated. Thank you. The next motion, support the resolution from Hastings Highland regarding the Ministry of Health to approve the application for funding a full-time nurse practitioner. Right, this is what, Council Kuyak, is this yours?
Yeah, this is, our neighboring Hastings Highland.
Okay,
And, I just thought they needed some support to continue on with their family health team.
do I need a seconder? Side
I'll
off.
second it, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Too late.
This one too?
No,
Oh,
That
wonderful.
council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin support the resolution of the municipality of Hastings Highlands regarding the recommendation that the Ministry of Health approve the application for funding a full-time nurse practitioner.
it's been duly moved and seconded. There's discussion.
Hard time finding.
Yeah, good luck with it. Yeah, unfortunately.
They offered big incentives at one point in time.
Yeah.
For the
Still having a
health
hard
It's a hard time to find them, yeah. Okay, seeing no other discussion, I'm gonna call the question, all in favor? Opposed? That one's carried.
Why didn't everybody, because the
Please note, Council Floyd is in favor of this, you want me to know that. The next resolution and the last one is to support the resolutions from Limerick and Calvin regarding the review of the National Fire Strategy. I need to move, that's Councilor Kuya.
Yes, it was me as well. Kind of interesting if you read the background of it, particularly with this area that's had repeated fires, severe fires, forest fires. And basically what they're asking or wanting to bring forth is that, we need help from a provincial standpoint, that municipalities shouldn't be just left alone to try to do large firefighting.
Okay, I need a seconder. That's a side up.
Keep looking at me.
That council for the corporation of the township of South
Thank
Algonquin supports a resolution from the township of Limerick and the municipality of Calvin regarding the review of the national fire strategy.
Is there any other discussion on this resolution? Councilor Florence, go ahead.
I'm not opposed. I just want to point out, this again is not an original motion. It's a motion endorsed by a township that was endorsed by a township that moved the motion.
So that's interesting.
I almost decided I was against it because there's so much background information, like the preamble is three pages long, but all in all, it's a good motion.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. That concludes the resolutions and the motions of council, I should say. Our next item is our bylaws. Can we do this all at once? Can we do all these bylaws at once?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I need a mover and a seconder to adopt to be read at first and deemed read a second time for bylaw 2024-789, bylaw 2024-790, and bylaw 2024-791, bylaw 2024-792, bylaw 2024-793. I need a mover and a seconder.
Page
I'll move.
521.
Thank you.
Moved by Council Collins, seconded by. I need a seconder. If I don't get a seconder, we won't be able to move. Side off.
Hey, that
Busy
bylaw
day for you.
2024-789, adoption of the official plan. Bylaw 2024-790, establish 2024 expenditures and revenue estimates. Bylaw 2024-791, adoption of the 2024 tax rates and penalty and interest on overdue taxes. Bylaw 2024-792, adoption of the 2024 tax ratios. And bylaw 2024-793 to confirm the proceedings of council be read a first time and deemed read a second time.
So it's been duly moved and seconded. Is any discussion on these bylaws?
One of them is there that we shouldn't be agreeing to, right? One of those bylaws?
No, they're all in line, Councilor We are. Is there one particular you had a question about?
Last one, wasn't that one you're referring to?
In regards to the tax,
No, confirms the proceedings of council.
And we agreed to
That's a
leave
standard.
the tax rate the same.
yes, but it was the other, so does that matter?
No,
The expenditure and the revenue amounts will stay the same.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions about these bylaws? Counselor Audrey, but no, okay. Okay, I'm seeing no other discussion, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. I need a mover and a seconder to have these bylaws read a third time and passed.
I'll make the motion.
Counselor Florence, seconded by Counselor Rodnick. Okay,
Bylaw 2024-789, adoption of the official plan. Bylaw 2024-780, establish 2024 expenditures and revenue estimates. Bylaw 2024-791, adoption of 2024 tax rates and penalty and interest on overdue taxes. Bylaw 2024-792, adoption of 2024 tax ratios. And bylaw 2024-793 to confirm the proceedings of council, be read a third time and passed.
been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? It's been moved. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Is there any other business that council would like to discuss before? I just want to say that we do not have any items for a closed session today. So with that, I just want to, before I do adjournment, thank members of council, our staff and everyone for getting all the information out to you in a timely manner and for the discussions that took place today. And I think we had very respectful and good discussions on all of these issues. So with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Councilor Sidon, Councilor Rodnick.
This is the most important one.
Yeah.
By council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular council meeting of May 1st, 2024 at 12:31 p.m.
Been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll
No, I don't
call.
want.
Huh?
I want to stay.
Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thanks, everyone.